All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for the final time tonight. Well, final series at least. We've got two more games coming up here. Empire versus CDEC to get things rounded out on the third stream. I'm Zyori, joined again by Purge.
Hello.
Purge, how you feeling?
I'm great. We got to pump some food into our bodies. My brain's going to work a little better than last game. And we'll see if Empire can take it to CDEC. So, first set of the day, 2-0 VP versus CDEC. They beat them. They beat them good. And then the next set, Empire versus VP. 2-0 the other way. VP getting beat. Surely that means, by order, that Team Empire will win this 4-0, right? That's how that works.
Clearly, I think the numbers add up that way. But I do think this is, of all the three matches, those numbers aside, if you had asked me on paper before we started, I probably would have said this one is the most lopsided in terms of matchup. But
Really? Okay.
only because I think Empire is just a little bit stronger than VP right now, not by much. And
Yeah.
I think both of them are a little bit stronger than CDEC. Though we mentioned in that first series that VP and CDEC are strikingly close by a lot of ELO metrics
Yeah,
in
that's
terms
right.
of ranking. And Empire is 1 or 2 ahead of them on
Okay.
average. So it's kind of silly to read too far into that stuff. But I don't know. Empire, just as we saw in that last series, they just, when push comes to shove, their late game decision making, their drafts seem a little more thought out. Their execution just feels really crisp right now.
Yeah, their execution, I would say, is definitely better than VP's. VP has a lot of very talented players, and maybe the ability to snowball better than Resolution, perhaps, or Silent. But they just have very consistent play. They make good decisions. They don't end up throwing anything away, and they take the wins there. I mean, even the. No, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of something else. So first round bans, Naga Siren is banned out. They watched the previous two sets.
I think so.
And they were like, "Oh, Naga, that's obnoxious. You guys pick it. You picked. We got to pick against us when the VP played us. We do not want to play against that." And man, it's reminding me of TI3, the support Naga.
She is just not too strong, but really strong. So hard to play around. In the hands of the right player, man, that Song of the Siren is such a scary tool. So less Gyro banned out by Empire. Nothing too surprising there. Shadow Fiend as well as Tusk have made it through. Obviously,
Okay.
CDEC here have first pick. It's
for
the
the
Tusk. Okay, we've seen a lot of these Tusk openers.
Easy Shadow Fiend pick for Empire, I feel.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the Russian teams really like the hero. So, or CIS teams, I suppose. So probably will be a Shadow Fiend, but what's the second here? Dazzle, perhaps? Good against Tusk, because Tusk is very burst heavy. I feel like Dazzle plus SF is a pretty good combo.
Yeah, it could be SF Earthshaker as well. Similar flavor. Defensive
SF and-
support.
okay, yeah,
Yeah,
I would like
defensive
that.
support with a strong core.
Speaking of defensive supports, you know who isn't being played at all right now that was being played recently was Shadow Demon.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
played a ton up until the TI5 qualifiers, and then that little bit of a break there between the qualifiers and TI. Haven't seen a single, maybe one Shadow Demon. I feel like I haven't seen a lot
Lion
of
is
Shadow
in a
Demon.
similar category as well. Qualifiers, he
Yeah,
was
that's
all
true.
over the place. I have seen so little Lion this tournament.
Yeah,
I mean, he has fallen off a bit. I think we've seen more Rasta picks than we have Lion.
maybe.
I can't 100% confirm that, but it's close at least, which is a little bit startling.
The supports are basically what Dazzle is taking at least half of the support picks, with an occasional Rubik because there's so many teamfight heroes.
I've
and
seen
then
a lot of
yeah.
Rubik.
There's
Okay.
the Dazzle. Come on, you know it's a Shadow Fiend. Make me look good. Come on, come on.
If it's not a Shadow Fiend, what else has Empire been prioritizing a lot?
They may have a strat. Who knows? I feel like Dazzle is really their go-to support here. We see it pretty consistently on one of their players. I mean, they could grab Earthshaker as well here if they want to. It's a hero they really like. Very easily could get banned or picked even by CDEC. So maybe that's the decision. Do we let them get the potential Shadow Fiend? Do we want that on our team? Do we snag the Earthshaker? What's going to make their team better? And Bloodseeker is actually another hero we completely forgot about. That's definitely worth bringing up. Something that's been
Yeah.
popular today, not so much yesterday, but today, lots of Bloodseeker.
Oh, yeah, that hero. I kind of forgot about him. Okay. Yeah, the other thing that Empire has tried in this turn, yesterday against Vici, they played Tiny Wisp. That's one of the pocket strats they like to pull out on occasion. Not so potent in that particular matchup, but something you always want to keep on the back burner when you're talking about Empire. And definitely not seeing first pick Wisp so much on this patch, but that's one of those third, fourth pick type strats that can catch teams off guard if they don't have the right heroes to deal with it.
All right, so CDEC gets the response. To beat Bloodseeker, you need a lot of physical damage. Preferably heal is really good. Dazzle is awesome with that, obviously. Shadow Fiend is obviously very good as well.
They could also take the
Physical
Winter
minus
Wyvern.
armor.
Although
Yeah, that's pretty good.
A lot of physical damage with Bloodseeker he can set up with the Blood Right, so it can be a little bit of a double-edged sword. But here we go, a hero that you and I have not got to cast much of today at all, the Undying.
I thought of him briefly in one of the drafts again with the Empire VP game, and I was like, wow, neither of these teams are actually banning or picking this hero. They're just not touching him.
Yeah.
We saw a really cool draft earlier today by Navi to beat the Undying, and you know what it was? It was a Lycan. And you're like, how does Lycan beat him? The answer is Howl. It boosts up the damage of you and your ranged supports, and you kill that tombstone really fast.
That's
really cool.
Incredibly smart, actually.
Plus, you have wolves, so it's extra physical damage, plus 1 level in Howl, and bam, the tombstone dies.
Wow.
And the biggest issue with Undying, which is the tomb, is just killed right at the start. But it also forces you to tri-lane and preferably range support. But that was a cool solution.
That is really cool. I have not seen that or really thought of that, but that's a really good idea. Yeah, some teams really like Undying, and it seems like the East prioritizes him a little bit more relative to the West.
That's what it seems like.
So not as surprised to see CDEC picking him up early on. The other hero that's still here, aside from the Shadow Fiend, who's now been third banned by Empire, is the Bounty Hunter. We've seen him prioritized a lot. He was first banned or first picked in all 4 games that we casted earlier, I think. So one we may slip into this second phase.
I think it's pretty clear that Empire does ban SF here because they already have their mid with Bloodseeker. It seems like every team puts Bloodseeker in a mid role. You don't want to put him in a carry role in the safe lane because then you can punish that tri lane with more aggressive heroes, especially Undying. You don't want to put a Bloodseeker versus Undying. That sounds really poor.
No, that does not sound like fun for the Bloodseeker.
Yes, not at all. I doubt we'll see something like a Lycan, but you never really know. It is kind of a silent hero. He had been playing it a lot in the past. Maybe something like a Razor would be favored, though. Silent's been playing a lot of Razor today, at least a couple times.
Yeah.
And I think versus Undying, it's not that bad. You can sap his damage at least. You get huge damage potential to offset the fact that he's always gaining HP with Decay. I think that would be an okay solution. A little bit of minus armor to stack with Dazzle, too.
Razor feels like he's in an interesting place from my perspective.
How so?
How would you rate him on the scale of like totally OP to absolutely needs a buff in Elder Titan category? Would you say he's just right there in the middle, just kind of appropriately balanced?
I think he's in a good spot for a carry. He has situational strengths, but he is not always good.
Yeah, because we've seen a lot of games where he really shines. I mean, even the game earlier. Such a variety of builds. Like the Aghanim's Refresher used to be so strong for sieging, and now you see a lot of games where he doesn't even go for Aghanim's.
Yeah, I think they nerfed his ult a little bit, and Static Link costs more mana.
And it doesn't persist through Aegis Death anymore. A couple of other minor nerfs.
And Plasma Field does less damage in melee range, so he got nerfed in a couple small ways. Also, mech mana costs went up. That's another thing to keep in mind. That hurt him a bit.
So I say that because I don't think of him as very strong. Like I would say he's slightly underpowered, but then you see him in games and he's kind of a beast. He saps damage. He can do a lot of damage. He can carry very well. Not a lot of teams are prioritizing him as well, which makes him sort of interesting.
And the Lina pick, pretty good versus Bloodseeker. Dazzle very good versus Lina, though, because you can usually save whoever's getting bursted down, and they have Winter Wyvern as well. So a very defensive support duo for Empire, but very good range as well for the dual range. So they can deal with zombies decently, they can keep people healed, immune to physical damage, and definitely save whoever gets in trouble.
Yeah, should most likely be that mid Lina. I think Illidan, as we kind of talked about, would pretty much the only player that's doing the safe lane Lina right now. I wonder what CDEC's looking at for their carry. Throughout the Wraith King again, although I don't think that's much of a CDEC hero, even though some teams have been running it against the Bloodseeker. Well, Darkseer for Empire. That's their offlaner. A lot of movement speed on this team. My gosh.
Yeah, it really is, actually. What happens if you surge a Bloodseeker when he's already over 522? I assume he just stays at the same speed? Probably.
That's a good question. I am not sure.
I feel like Surge sets you at 522 no matter what because it's immune to slows, so it probably doesn't do anything because you're over it. I'm not sure. I don't think it makes you run faster.
Does it just set you down to 522? Is it a downgrade if you surge him?
Guess Surge. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's not how the mechanics work.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But they have pretty good team fight. They've got Vacuum with Winter Wyvern ult. They can Vacuum onto Bloodright. But their disables are pretty weak due to their two support combo now with their Darkseers. So, but they do have the benefit of lowering people's HP with Ion Shell in the early laning stage, which means Bloodseeker has the potential to very easily solo kill the Lina. All he's got to do is hit her a couple times and dodge the stun, and that's a kill. So it's looking a little scary for Lina, and I haven't seen this in too many of the pro games yet to get that combo, but it is very often banned either way.
You mean like Darkseer, Bloodseeker?
Yeah, they'll get like Bloodseeker, and then the other team will ban Darkseer and stuff like that. I assume that's the interaction that they're looking at.
Yeah, and even Winter Wyvern kind of plays into that strategy a bit with the Arctic Burn doing some sure
Yeah,
percentage damage.
That's a really good point. If you can hit like 3 heroes with it, it's really good. And CDEC grabbing the Ember.
They love it. Again, we were talking a little of the differences in the East versus West, and this is another hero that is so much more popular out in the East. And
it's not exactly true. It was drafted twice as often in the West, but they lost every game.
Yeah,
and
before this event, I guess I would have said that, and it was a little bit more true. But yeah, there were so many Ember picks in the wild card, and there were a surprising amount yesterday. If stats serve me right, is his win rate positive right now on this?
It's negative overall at TI5.
Negative overall at TI5. Okay, that's what I
assume excluding wild card, because a lot of the stats have been excluding the wild card. But
I'm not. I'm not sure.
Ember's pretty darn good here. Damage over time, good against Bloodseeker because it's all magic damage, at least until he gets BKB. And not to mention you can stop him from moving for up to 3 seconds using Searing Chains at relative safety. So, and Rupture as well, it's not that big of a deal. If as long as you have a Remnant far, far away, it does no damage to you as you jump away. So
yeah.
Ember Spirit is, as a whole, very good against Bloodseeker. But if Ember Spirit doesn't have an escape and he's silenced, he's going to die because he has very low armor, very low agility gain for an Agi hero, and he builds all damage items, so his armor doesn't get any better there. So there's a chance that Bloodseeker will be able to kill him, but right now this lineup just looks so good for CDEC, and I feel like Empire drafted themselves into a weird support duo and then further made that worse with the offlane Darkseer. That's a new hero.
Invoker. Not very popular on this patch, but still, I think, definitely underrated, which is not a very bold claim given that he is picked almost never on 6.84.
Yeah.
Almost exclusively Quas Wex as well. There's been very minimal Exort play.
I don't know what kind this is going to be. They don't have a setup for Sunstrike, so surely it has to be Quas Wex.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a Forge Spirit build as well. I'm not sure what the win rate of in CS from Invoker mid is versus an Ember, but I feel like Exort, going to Quas Exort build would be pretty good. Again, low armor on Ember Spirit, so you can punish him in that way.
Yeah.
But at the same thing, if Ember gets ahead and you're playing Exort Quas, you're just going to get wrecked, and that's why they pick the TA here. Because they're like, all right, we don't actually want to lane an Ember Spirit versus an Invoker. We'll play him in a farm role. We'll do an aggressive dual lane with a Tusk Undying, and we'll see if your tri-lane can deal with it. And it is going to be a tri-lane Bloodseeker, so Resolution is going to have to go 1v1 versus the TA, and that is not a good matchup. And I'm pretty sure that's going to force them to have to even maybe put Winter Wyvern to harass mid, perhaps, because it's just historically a bad matchup for Invoker.
It's historically a bad matchup, and also forcing Bloodseeker into a tri-lane is never ideal. We've talked about that quite a bit throughout our string of games today. He was actually even in a tri-lane in the last series we saw, at least for a little while, and we saw some of the weaknesses of that. So, yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. This Empire draft feels a little funky, at least on paper. I guess we'll see how they execute. They do have a fair bit of team fight, though, once they start to group up towards that mid-game.
Yeah, they do. I think the Iron Shell from Darkseer is going to do a decent job at harassing the Ember Spirit, at least in the first couple levels. He can use his Flame Guard to block the magic damage, but only blocks so much, and to be honest, I feel like it'll actually get burned through quite rapidly from the Iron Shell. So, we'll see how things go. I think a lot of this is going to come down to the mid lane, honestly, and if the dual offlane for CDEC, I assume it's a dual offlane, if it gets a bunch of kills, they're obviously going to snowball the game, I believe. But the lanes to watch, the mid lane and the off lane for CDEC, I believe.
Okay. So with that, we'll introduce some rosters here. Game number 1 of Empire versus CDEC. We've got Yoku on the Darkseer. He's stationed up in the safe lane, so it appears Empire will go for the aggro try. Resolution on the Invoker. Going Super Saiyan mode here. I'm loving it. Silent here. He's on the Bloodseeker, and he'll be joined by Aloha Dance on the Winter Wyvern, as well as Always Want to Fly on the Dazzle.
And for the Dire Team CDEC, we have Aggressive playing the Ember Spirit in the safe lane, putting a little bit of a lane ward down in the off lane. Got XZ playing the Tusk, partnering up here with Garter on the Undying. And the two supports, Q playing Lina, and Shiki playing Templar Assassin. Am I missing a support? It's the either the Tusk or the Undying, depending on.
Yeah, Garter is usually the support player of the two.
Okay, they both have Stouts, actually. They have the same item build.
Stout and
just
Mango.
About.
Okay.
So they really want to win this dual offlane, and that means that the other support probably really sacrificed the Lina. Not that much, actually. So I guess they don't have that much regen. That's probably why.
Okay. So we'll see how these lanes shape up. Will Empire commit to the aggro try, or will they do something different? Appears to be the former. Aloha Dance poking around in the mid lane, but he will flap those wings towards the top. This is a very interesting aggro try lane from Empire. Not a trio of heroes that I would normally peg to be in a position
Aloha
like this.
Dance might be in trouble.
Yeah, walks right up to the high ground, takes the decay straight away. LSA from Q.
He's fine.
But I don't think they have the follow-up damage. Yeah, doesn't even need to use the Arctic Burn. He's fine.
He has the boots advantage over his opponents. I think he wanted to ward maybe right on that hill or something for some vision or something, but I'm not quite sure. A lot of damage being done. Yeah, he could actually die here.
This could be a first
This is
blood.
pretty dangerous. He's solo. He's got refraction. He pops it. Cold Snap comes through. That might be enough. They get him in the first blood. Holy crap. That was not... Oh, man. He was like, oh, I want that CS. That's going to be totally fine. But the damage sources from Winter Wyvern there just absolutely cut through him.
Oh, my gosh. Aggressive. He goes for the Searing Chains right as the creep wave comes in, and instead of hitting both heroes, it hits 2 creeps instead. That probably would have been a follow-up kill here in favor of CDEC, but... Ooh, nice heal bomb there from the Dazzle. Very unfortunate for the Ember. Yeah, already starting with a bang.
So it's a Darkseer versus Tusk 1v1. That's pretty good for Darkseer, but that does force Silent to have a rough time in the off lane. So, and Aloha Dance is going to continue roaming on the mid lane, most likely to make sure that Invoker doesn't get completely wrecked. So the sacrifice is going to come top. Silent will get less farm and just might die.
Yeah. Is this a worthy trade-off? Bloodseeker, as we've talked about, is one of those heroes that doesn't really play that well from behind. When he really shines is when he can get a good start and stay an item or half an item up over the opposition. This feels like, of all the heroes to put in this kind of a sacrificial lamb role.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, I think the hero does need to get some guaranteed farm, and that's why he's going to the jungle right now. And I think this is the right solution, because against 3 heroes, it's too dangerous, honestly. Always Want to Fly is going to stay top, though.
Uh-oh, Shiki in trouble again here in the mid lane. The Cold Snap comes out. He doesn't have any more refraction. The Arctic Burn helped tick it off, and that should be another kill. Invoker picks this one up again, and Silent, well, he's at least nearby to get some extra XP and gold out of it.
That was pretty cool. And even Silent rotating over, he gets some experience gold, or some AoE gold, sorry.
Yeah.
And picks up a Quelling Blade as well, so he's just going to jungle, man. Pubs, they teach you things.
You know, you said in this draft, there's no way he's going to jungle, but I guess where there's a will, there's a way. He doesn't have too many choices.
He wasn't going to start jungling, you know.
He was never intending to jungle, but
now that it's in this position, it's absolutely worth it because he's not going to be top. And there's no reason to bring Dazzle into the jungle as well because he can just sap experience. He's level 3 already.
Yeah, this is great.
Just transitioning to the old offlane Dazzle. Totally normal, good stuff. Happy times. Gets a boots at almost 3 minutes. Like, that's great for him. And this is overall now leading to a really big experience game. If they would have started with this, CDEC probably would have just aggressive tri-laned and completely punished him. But because they're in this position, it's okay.
Yeah. Look, even Q, he's losing the harassment battle to Always Want to Fly. Dazzle needs to be careful, though. No points in Shallow Grave. 100% dead, but he gets the kill first, knowing his limits. That's the power of the Dazzle right there. Nicely played.
What a great kill from Always Want to Fly. I thought he was screwed there, but getting that kill before his opponent killed him, I think that's worth it. He got a Sentry Ward out of that, so a bit of a gold advantage there.
Yeah.
You know, in some ways maybe not the best, but let's see. Dazzle got Lina, and then Ember Spirit got the Dazzle. So a bit of an advancement for Ember Spirit, but it really screwed the Lina over. Look at her items now. 100 gold and a TP scroll. So it's beneficial to the Dazzle, and it's really detrimental to the Lina. So even though the Ember Spirit got some advancement out of it, I think it's going to hurt the Lina in a huge way, and that's the hero to kill that early and punish if you can.
Yeah. Darkseer versus Tusk. Kind of a farm war, both sides just getting a lot of CS. Neither really able to kill each other too easily in these early levels here. The mid lane, even though Resolution has been able to set up kills on Shiki twice, still not really winning the farm war. This TA.
It's tough, man.
Living up to the matchup expectation.
Ooh, we lost his clarity push in there. He does have phase boots, so his damage is a lot better now. A little bit of engagement top.
Yeah, Yoku's rotated up top alongside Always Want to Fly. Dire Courier gets picked off by Aloha Dance.
They can be really aggressive with this because, you know, Darkseer's already going to be in melee range, and then you can just cast Shadow Wave on top of him to do a mix of magic and physical damage. And now aggressive, despite getting that kill, is in a really bad spot. And then XZ on the bot lane as Tusk is going to hit level 6 really fast. But Bloodseeker can kind of just jungle if he feels unsafe. So this is looking really, really good for Empire right now.
Uh-oh, they scout out aggressive. Yoku puts on the Ion Shell. He's going to move into the tree line here, and this could be rocky for the Ember Spirit. He will have some support nearby, though. It's Garter. Tombstone's down. Decay on 2. Always want to fly. Needs to be a little careful here. He did hit level 4, so he does have the Shallow Grave. But another Decay stack, and they are in big trouble. All right, Heal Bomb to try and deal with some of these creeps.
And they killed him again. These creeps are not dying to the tower. The tower's taking damage. Tombstone's gone.
Okay.
Pops the Clarity Potion, get a little bit of heal up here. And he's going to wait to do damage to this if he can.
Empire already with a 1,500 net worth lead, 500 experience in their favor. And we'll miss a kill down bottom, but here in the mid lane, this is what they're setting up for. Shiki in a lot of trouble. They were ready with a dust. No more refraction. They've just got too much damage. Tornado will connect. Will they actually get him here? Does Shiki live? One more.
One HP. He actually had 1 HP. Aloha Dance healing up now from Cold Embrace. He should be able to escape this, I think. Popping a tango, he's going to run people far away. And he's actually got a soul ring out of that. So he bought out before he died. Not the worst thing in the world there, but they definitely wanted that TA kill. Yeah. That's damage variance right there. That means if one hero happened to RNG to do slightly more damage with their ranged attack, that was a dead TA. So bit of a big loss there.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Empire. But still, they forced the TA back to the well, so Resolution gets some space in the lane. Lina trying to leech some XP. Could just get picked off here. Hasterin makes juking that. Never mind, he got hit by the LSA, but now he's going to be able to chase him down. That last auto attack secures the kill, and Resolution finds himself a killing spree.
Really nice here to get an early haste on, because he doesn't usually spend his early money on a bottle, so he's got this extra 24 damage that most heroes don't have at this point. Normally they just have bottle and brown boots, so it's kind of cool to see him be able to get that extra leverage out of runes.
And in the bottom lane, they did get a kill onto Silent.
Yeah, a second one? Oh,
yeah,
man.
A second kill.
And that's the person they need to pressure, the person that's behind. And Nalina went there immediately upon being behind, and now she's caught up because she just sat behind, went on in with the Tusk, and did the follow-up stun the first time. Don't know what happened the second time, but a twice dead carry is a bad place.
Yeah, Yoku putting a lot of pressure on this top lane, though. He's just unrelenting here. Not much the Undying can do about it. Any melee hero just struggles against Darkseer in this kind of a scenario. Tower down to about 250 HP. And we'll try to find some extra gold for their Bloodseeker, who needs anything he can get, though. On that same token, Shiki is actually below the Bloodseeker on net worth, so something to be said for pressuring this TA as much as CDEC is pressuring the Bloodseeker.
Silent even having a little bit of trouble jungling here. Oh, please don't die. He's going to be okay. All right, there's the big heal. He's got Rupture now, so this means that he can start getting some golden experience through Rupturing. And the rest of the CDEC says, hey, where's Bloodseeker? Let's go find him, and let's kill him. We'll see if they find him. Good ward, I like that. It'll spot him.
Nice high ground ward there. Take a look at how much vision that gives, even a little intel towards that mid lane. So aggressive, how's he looking here? Phase boots up, turning into the off-lane Ember Spirit for now, but it's been pretty good to him. There's the end of the Tier 1 tower up top. Yoku will finish it off, and that'll be the beginning of his mech. Headdress now secured.
Just one of the really nice things about Darkseer. Like, he wins so many 1v1 matchups, and if he isn't against a tri-lane, he can just abuse your lane and get a ton of farm, and that's exactly what he's doing. 51 CS, including some neutral creeps. So, and very quickly pressuring top. They find a courier. Will they get it? It does go down. That's 500 gold. I don't know what that was in the courier, but it was a glove of haste.
Oh, yeah. For Shiki.
Yeah, so delayed treads by 3 minutes.
That's actually pretty huge. Garter up top. He gets dove on. Cold Snap sets it up. He'll try to heal himself, but the Soul Rip just isn't enough. Now Q, he's here. Ghost Walk from the Invoker, but Yoku, he gets left behind. Nowhere to go but death. Shiki trying to pressure Aloha Dance. Resolution. Will he reveal himself here? I think he's just going to run and let his support die. Yep, absolutely. So it ends up being a 1 for 2. Kind of an overcommitment there from Empire.
Yeah, not so worth it there. It took a little too long to kill the Undying in that fight. He just kept on surviving.
Yep.
So, despite delaying the treads on the Templar Assassin, she's still able to get a lot of gold and experience out of that kill. And she'll be really happy with that considering her start.
So, again, glancing at the graphs, it's Empire still holding on to a decent lead, about 3K net worth, 1,500 experience, just shy of the 10-minute mark. All 3 of their cores on the top of the net worth chart itself. Very impressive. I still can't believe how well this Bloodseeker is farming after this abysmal start.
Wow, he actually is really high. You're totally right. Although some of those may be neutrals, and they give a lot less gold per kill.
No, even just his net worth. He's 30. He's even with the Ember Spirit right now.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's good. Ember had a bit of a tough time. They're going to grab Aloha Dance. Ends up putting the Cold Embrace on himself.
There's a grave.
Okay, that's going to buy him some time. Oh, and he flies right over the shards. This is looking really good. He's actually pretty high in HP. Just needs to kill the zombies. He's fine.
Yeah, they kill the Tombstone. Now CDEC on the back foot. Cold Snap onto the Ember Spirit. He'll be able to make it back. They rupture him. And do they actually want to dive this?
He might get killed, actually.
Oh, he almost got silenced there, but was right on the edge of it. Always when a fly goes in way too deep. Doesn't have the shallow grave.
He's dead, though.
Yeah.
Really good attempt there. They might throw the ult on Resolution. He's going to have Ghost Walk. Use it. Oh, the dust is used. He's in trouble.
Yeah, he's definitely dead. Laguna from Q sets it up. Nice and easy. So CDEC get 2 freebies out of that. Overcommitment from Empire once again.
Yeah, just the slight outplay, overestimating whether or not they could kill the Ember Spirit. He's just not vulnerable to Rupture in the slightest. It's pretty clear there. If that was any other hero that they ruptured, they definitely could have killed him, but not that guy.
Mech has come out on the Dark Seer, though. Great timing on that. 10 minutes in. Brown Boot, Soul Ring Bottle. Actually #1 on net worth in the entire game.
That will not stay the same for the rest of the game, but in this early part of the game, there's almost no hero that farms faster than Darkseer, so no huge surprise there.
Yeah. And it is a hand of Midas on Silent, so he went Treads right into Midas. Still a very standard build here on the Bloodseeker, and an 11-minute Midas is still a pretty solid timing, all things considered.
I think that's really good. G was picking up most of the time around 8 minutes or so, maybe 6 in one of the more ridiculous games, so he's got to be happy with that considering the start.
And that's with Treads first?
Yep, Treads Poor Man, same build basically is what he's got right now, just a couple of minutes earlier. And that's with owning his lane and getting, farming the whole time.
That's when you get 2 kills early on rather than getting killed twice, I think.
He might spot this Ember Spirit. He does see him. They knew he was here in the first place, though, because they had the ward there, but apparently they don't want to go and try on him.
He's got some backup here, but CDEC will just retreat. They did finish off the Tier 1 tower down here in the bottom lane as well, so that levels out the tower count 1 apiece.
Kind of looks like Empire wants to fight, but instead they shift Resolution back to the mid lane. He's pretty close to Orchid. He's had a really good early game. Only 40 CS, though, is sometimes typical of Invokers or mid-heroes when you roam a little bit too much in the early game. You get those kills and it increases your GPM, but it reduces your CS by a bit.
Q bumps into Aloha Dance, misses both the Dragon Slave and the LSA, and the Wyvern will just fly away.
I like this Winter Wyvern build the best, the Max Splinter Blast one, because the nuke is very spammable. If your opponents start pushing, you can very easily clear the creep waves. And you can also just farm. If it's not safe to farm, you just shoot the blast just like this. Boom, 195 damage done to Lina that she's not going to get back anytime soon.
Yeah, it can be a little bit mana intensive, but he has a Soul Ring, so that makes it very easy to spam and just continue pushing these waves in.
Exactly.
Top lane, Soul, Resolution goes in onto Aggressive, hits him with an EMP Tornado combo. One last auto attack, not enough. He sips the bottle, and it keeps him alive. Another close call, but Empire will be repelled without another kill on their side.
And how many times that guy got away just barely in these team fights? He's had so many close calls, and it could completely change the game if he was able to get those kills.
Yeah. And Garter trying to do what he can in the bottom lane. He's now level 6, picked up his Arcane Boots here on the Undying. He's had a pretty solid presence so far, 0, 1, and 4.
Really good stacking by the Lina, one of the things that she's been doing as she did get killed. Did they not get the D-ward? Yeah, they can see that.
Oh, yeah, she just
gonna say
doubled back there for a second.
That was weird.
But it looks like CDEC are just going to sack this Tier 2 up top. They'll just let Resolution as well as Yoku just clear out the creep waves and take a freebie Tier 2.
That's one of the earliest Tier 2s I've ever seen. Especially this one, it's almost always defended, but it's guaranteeing that TA is able to take the Ancients, and that'll pick her up. Probably a Blink Dagger is most likely what she's aiming for.
This looks like 4 stack here, I think.
It's a good stack.
That's a big one.
Really good gold for her. But there's also pressure mid, so Empire is taking this advantage of saying, you're all off the map, fine, I'm just going to hit your towers. And they're doing that well.
They really are. Silent, still farming neutrals. They'll be on the high ground here. Do they have the vision? Nope. They gotta cut down those trees before they can see it. Yeah, they get a ward up on the high ground. Very aggressive from CDEC here, only 14 minutes in. So they definitely want to keep eyes on this Bloodseeker and possibly rotate and try and gank him.
Well, they found him. He's mid.
Yep, exactly. It's
how's the Blood Rage EMP Tornado sound? 200 damage for the EMP currently, and about 300 for the Tornado. So it's pretty good. 500 damage combo, boosts that up by about 30%. That's damage reduction. Yeah. So
Blink Dagger is out on the Dark Seer also. So now they have some initiation power.
That's so early. If he can grab a good wall vacuum, it could completely swamp this team fight. They deny the tower instead. Good read there. Blade Mail will be the next pickup for Bloodseeker. I like the choice versus the TA. Once you break her refraction charges, it's going to be really good against her, but the important part is breaking the refraction charges in the first place.
Yeah. this Tusk doing a slightly different build from what we've seen more regularly. He's going for the Guardian Greaves here. Arcane Boots right into mech. So doing the kind of more utility support Tusk rather than that like Blink Dagger initiating style.
You know, I think that's really smart because Empire has a Dazzle. Like the burst damage is great and all. You think like, oh, I'll beat the Dazzle by just bursting faster, but half the time it doesn't work, and then your Blink Dagger would much rather be a mech. They're going to find each other in the smoke. Always want to fly going first. Really bad initiation for him at least. Not able to grave himself, and the TP's coming from Empire. Oh, they're going to grab the vacuum.
They still want to fight
Oh,
this.
they drain his mana. He can't jump.
Aggressive in a lot of trouble here. Snowball across. They need to be very careful against this Darkseer, but now they initiate in. Yoku taking huge damage. They've already lost their Winter Wyvern. They've lost their Darkseer as well. It's a disaster for Empire as they jump on Resolution 4-0 as CDEC erupt in the mid lane.
So one of the downsides of the draft there is that they needed Bloodseeker to be the first one in. That way they could counter-initiate. They needed somebody up front tanky to take the hits and then turn around with the Bloodright and the Vacuum Wall and the EMP Tornado and all the good stuff. But CDEC completely split across, and nobody got caught except for the Mana Burn on the Ember Spirit. It was just enough for Empire to sense blood, and they ended up overextending and getting completely cleaned up there.
I was surprised they took the fight.
Me too.
The real advantage there is that CDEC had the high ground. So Empire didn't really know exactly where they were or what was going on other than their Dazzle died. All right, let's EMP Tornado and try and isolate the Ember Spirit. But the Darkseer got jumped on, his Blink got broken, and you know, it's a great pickup this early on, but if it gets broken when the fight starts, then it's a pretty big sunk cost that doesn't offer you much.
Yeah, you're just transferring your net worth back to your opponents when they do kill you in a slightly greater rate than before. So
good read from CDEC. They go right into the Roche Pit after that tier 1, and that's very early Aegis.
I mean, the fight could have definitely gone the other way if Empire played a little bit better, maybe with their positioning, didn't get caught on the Dazzle, but that's what happened, and that's a big advantage going to CDEC now.
So, Yasha on the Ember Spirit. Oh my, this is slightly different. I like it. Phase Boots, Drum, Yasha.
It's a Manta for the Orchid that Invoker is building, because otherwise it would be way too easy for Invoker to solo kill him.
Yeah.
If he didn't have his Flame Guard up, he could just very easily silence and finish him up. So, completely standard there. In this situation.
Yeah, I was going to say completely standard against Quaswex Invoker. And speaking of that Orchid, it is now completed. Good timing on that for Resolution as well. So there's still going to be this window before the Manta comes out, and there'll be quite a few opportunities for Resolution to find some pickoffs. I think once this gets to do his inventory, we'll just see Ghost Walk hunting for solo pickoffs as long as he can get away with it.
Bloodseeker's actually going for the full Sun Yasha build. He's not going to be building a BKB first. A little surprised about this, especially because his HP is slightly low right now. But that's his plan.
Okay. Going for these early combative items, that's for sure.
Doesn't make him good against Lina, and Tusk is a little bit scary as well, but BKB doesn't do a huge amount. It's pretty good against Ember Spirit, I guess, in the early game. Late game, it doesn't do much, but you know, a lot of Ember's damage right now is just magic and being able to Searing Chains you, so I'm a little unsure. Might see a gank here in the jungle, Invoker's Invis.
They might catch Shiki. Remember, he is the Aegis carrier, and the rest of his team smoked up right behind him. Could they find a catch here?
That was fast.
Oh, they burn a dust. They know that Resolution was nearby, but they still couldn't catch him.
Yeah, very smart for him to pass through. Like, it was hard to get that kill. Oh,
this is Chains onto Aloha Dance.
Oh, wow.
Well, he was immune to physical, but not quite the magical. So that'll be an easy pick off there.
Yeah.
Nicely done. Lina gets credit for that one.
Resolution couldn't have team fought that. Originally, I thought, oh, EMP Tornado, easy. But I checked his skills, and he was ready for the gank build. He used Ghost Walk, obviously, and he had Cold Snap ready in case he found a solo hero. But instead, they're all grouped up, and they're not going to get picked off. And that's one of the counters to that ganking build. He spent all this money on items that could have been maybe a Midas, maybe could have been a build towards a Hex or something like that. Instead, gets nothing from it.
Well, now rotation down bottom. Silent seems to be the target of choice for CDEC, but a Bloodright will break up the fight. He'll have plenty of space. Ice Shards.
Can they catch somebody?
Just harassing a little bit.
Resolution wants to grab somebody, but it's a little tough. Tornado's picked up now. 16 seconds towards EMP if needed. Can he catch anyone? Throws the super long-range Tornado. Catches Tusk only.
Orchid onto Lina on the low ground.
Oh, they rupture. Okay.
But can they actually take this fight?
It's so
CDEC
far.
are ready to do it. Now Shiki goes in onto Resolution. Hits him with a Meld Strike, and it's pretty big damage. Aggressive from the other side, but they don't have the detection. Instead, they'll go for Silent. He'll use the Blade Mail. And snowball forward. There's the tombstone. Empire, they really want to commit to this fight. The EMP will do a little bit. Gardner, he gets caught by
good.
the Winter's, the ultimate there from the Winter Wyvern. And Aloha Dance will just barely stay alive on the other side of it. Laguna Blade out under Resolution.
Oh, good Grave.
Shallow Grave as well. Aggressive trying to finish him off. Won't be able to do it. Now he gets silenced. He'll turn the other way, but Q's there. It's this back and forth through the alleyway. As now Always Want to Fly gets caught by the searing chains. No Grave to save himself. He will die.
Oh,
Yoku
aggressive.
finishes off aggressive. He might be able to get Q here as well. Darkseer caught
Back
by
him
the
into
sun.
gets him.
It. Nicely
Man.
done.
What a cleanup from the Darkseer. How often is the Darkseer the threat in the fight? But he really is this game, and he's actually pretty good against the TA as well. Throw the Ion Shell on somebody, bam, refractions are gone. Bounty Rune picked up by Resolution. He spots out Shiki. Aegis is gone, but there is no way that he can deal with him when he only has 270 HP.
Another one of those really chaotic fights. It was all these little 1v1s back and forth until one team could make the power play, and then the one would retreat. And in the end, it was just Yoku that cleaned house. Very nice.
So Guardian Greaves up on Darkseer now. That'll be very useful if anybody gets low, which is, you know, all the time with Grave. They can get that supercharged 15 HP per second and the 15 armor boost, which is really good against TA and very good against Ember Spirit as well.
Yep, also gets the mech on a slightly lower cooldown.
Who they saw Always Want to Fly in the jungle. Oh, he's in trouble. He doesn't have...
TP on cooldown for
so
40
dead.
seconds. There's nowhere to go. Can Grave to buy himself a little bit of time, be a distraction, but yeah, Tusk even just body blocking him here for good measure. Good night, sweet Dazzle.
Good ward positioning for that. Spots him running through. That's the dangerous part about that ward. There's almost always a ward spotting you heading to that area, and then they may figure out that it's actually there later. Yeah, looks like, yep, Lena swings around. Obvious that he placed the ward in there, and very, very easy de-ward.
Nice heads-up play there from Q. So even though CDEC are still behind, they're giving Empire a good run for their money here. Behind by only about 1,500 net worth. Darkseer as well as the Bloodseeker farming well, but everyone else on Empire struggling a little bit. The two supports in particular. Oh my, the Dazzle is just so broke. He's got a medallion, but...
Yo, he's a rich Dazzle. What are you talking about, dude? This is great. That's like...
Okay, well, I guess it's really the Winter Wyvern that's broke then, because they're both playing the 5 right now.
Yeah, Winter Wyvern usually has a bit more farm than this, but a lot of deaths are... Wow, that's an easy Invoker kill.
Yeah, it really
They used Sleight of... Our Searing Chain, sorry, for the 2-second duration means that even if he tries to go invis, he's going to get killed there, and he does get killed.
Yeah.
He has a hard choice here. He needs armor to deal with the TA, but he kind of needs magic immunity. I feel like maybe a Force Staff is the option, but he kind of wants a Ghost as well because the TA can just blink meld on top of him, and a Force Staff will not stop that half of his HP damage that comes through. It's a tough Invoker game, honestly. He really needed to snowball hard from this Orchid, and I feel like it's going to have a lot of trouble shifting in the late game because he needs so many items right now.
I mean, frankly, he was doing better before he picked up the Orchid. Now that he's hunting around, CDEC seem like they know exactly what he's up to, and they are ready to deal with it. Maybe it's time Empire focus more on the team fight efforts rather than sending Resolution out on these solo missions.
I like what Silent's doing here, just hitting the tier 1 tower.
Yeah, putting some pressure on the other side of the map. CDEC looks like they'll be able to grab a tier 1 tower up top. Glyph has already been used, and yeah, Shiki will secure the kill there. They're going to keep on going, try and force a reaction out of Empire. They'll start to rotate over. Oh, yep, 2 TPs back straight away. Their entire team, exactly what CDEC wanted.
Man, this Lena's playing so well. Remember when he died against the Dazzle? Well, he's 6-3 and 6 now. He's got a Eul Scepter. He's doing, and with Arcane Boots and Euls, at 23 minutes as a support is really good. He actually has 57 CS. I don't know where the heck he got that, but
yeah,
he's been killing creeps, apparently.
Playing this very greedy forward. He spent some time in the jungle, and he's definitely picked up a lot of kills. Wow, you're right. He's been very active so far.
Deso up on TA. Who's going to get one shot? Dazzle.
Definitely Dazzle. Not quite the Invoker, but that minus armor is really going to hurt.
Initiation mid. Comes the Orchid. Winter's Curse as well.
Aggressive, in some trouble
they
here.
Got him.
Vacuum in. All right.
Buyback, though.
He wants to get back into this fight ASAP. He'll come around the backside, and oh,
Great
now
Grave on
Empire
Resolution.
possibly in some trouble. Resolution will stay alive, but the rest of them taking a lot of damage. Dazzle will be Walrus Punch. The wall just not doing enough. Undying, cleaning it up. A 3-for-1 if you count the buyback. And Winter Wyvern will stand his ground. No getting away from that one. Only the Darkseer will survive. Again, CDEC with a fabulous team fight.
Man, they just
making it look easy.
They just start things off, but they're getting rolled over immediately afterwards. And it looked great for them after they killed the Ember Spirit, but they just died. They just tried to get away and nothing worked. Tusk chased. TA jumps forward, blows people up, even like a Tombstone. They just have very good run at them heroes, and I feel like Empire's lacking tanky, aggressive heroes. Like maybe if they had a Bristleback instead of a Bloodseeker. Like imagine how different the game would be if they had a Bristle instead of a Bloodseeker, I feel. Like obviously they picked the Blood early, so they're committed to it, but they need someone that can be up in the front that at least limits CDEC running at their team, because it's all squishy heroes like Invoker, Winter Wyvern, Dazzle. Like the Grave is obviously buys them some time, but if they can't stabilize during that Grave duration, it doesn't do anything other than buy 5 seconds on somebody's life.
You know, you look at this Darkseer and say, well, he could be that tanky frontliner, but that's also not really a possibility. You need him to counter-initiate for the wall vacuum. You absolutely need that damage, and you also need to make sure that he can use the Guardian Greaves to help out the team. If he's the one in the front line, then he's kind of meching himself rather than the team.
Yeah, and that's less efficient. And his damage isn't as big of a threat as a hero like Bristleback. So if you have somebody that's super tanky but you do no damage, then the enemy team just ignores you, and that's fine. And that's basically what Darkseer would do. He's just got Ion Shell damage pretty much. So it's a hard fight. They need to initiate perfectly, and they need to get the kills on the important cores.
Yep. All right, Empire, they're smoked up, but turns out to be a pretty defensive smoke here as they just head back to their own jungle. CDEC are starting to take control here, and they've actually taken the biggest gold lead that they've had so far this game, only about 2,500, but a sign that momentum is definitely going their way. This Undying now has a Glimmer Cape as well as a Gem of True Sight. A lot of mobility tools here, and another way to deal with this Invoker, who's now just picked up a Blink Dagger.
And the Manta's up on the Ember Spirit now, so he doesn't have to worry about the silence anymore. He's going to be pretty happy with that one. Blink Dagger on, okay, Blink on, I like that. I like that. It's kind of a solution. Basically get away from that guy. And it can dodge the attack from Templar Assassin. Her projectile speed's pretty low, so he'll definitely be able to dodge those attacks. Might get spotted first, though. He's got his Blink now, but then gets initiated on, throws the Tornado, but he dodges it. Cold Embrace as well. He's going to have Ghost.
They're coming around the other side. Empire are not ready for this. Snowball forward. They've already lost their Invoker. Now their Dazzle. Oh, maybe they can turn it with the wall. Okay, Winter's Curse does bring down the Tusk.
Shiki as well might die, maybe.
Just back up and kind of reset here. He's still
the
alive
Blade Mail
for now.
reflecting damage, but
Silent. He's so low, he falls. They just can't do it. Now Yoku, he gets taken off as well. The Winter Wyvern just barely survives.
These team fights are just looking so one-sided.
And Tusk also buys back again.
Tusk did?
Yeah, Tusk bought back.
Oh, okay.
He definitely died in that fight, that's for sure. So he'll buy back, and it'll be another Roche. This is just looking disastrous for Empire.
Yeah. I feel like there's no Bloodseeker synergy in their draft here. Yeah, Ion Shell lowers people's HP and he farms faster, but you know, he had such a bad laning stage. He didn't get anything out of his lane. Then he had to shift to jungle. Then he slowly jungled. Then he got killed twice. And he's got all these items, but he really needs a BKB because once he gets stunned once, he stops auto-attacking, and he's not doing anything else after that. Like, he could actually just chase down Ember Spirit and threaten Ember Spirit with a 5-shot or something. He could be hitting TA and breaking refraction charges or something. But as soon as he gets snowballed, he just dies because Lena's going to follow up. And everybody's HP is too high at this point for his Blade Mail to actually be viable. Yeah.
BKB coming out for the Bloodseeker, but still doesn't have the Mithril Hammer. Tier 2, one of two outer remaining towers for Empire. About to get turned to rubble here by CDEC. I like the way CDEC are doing this. They're taking objectives, but they're not really overcommitting. They're happy with these little victories, and they'll just go back to farming. Playing very controlled here, even though they are getting a lot of momentum. It seems like just a few minutes ago, TA got this Desolator. Now she has a completed BKB.
They're not even little victories. They're moderate to large victories every single time. They're like four-man kills kind of stuff, and it's going to put Empire in a place where they're just going to have to start doing smoke inks and hoping for the best because they are very, very quickly losing this game.
Yeah. Somehow, still the Bloodseeker and Darkseer are #1 on net worth, but the rest of the team falling further and further behind. The Winter Wyvern and Dazzle getting further behind the supports of CDEC. And I mean, can we even call this Alina a support at this point? She's got 2,400 gold and a Yule Scepter. I mean, she is pretty scary.
Empire going to get spotted there. There's the trap on the Winter Wyvern. He's going to try to TP. It doesn't work.
Yeah, definitely not happening. Resolution, he'll TP out, as will Yoku. So they do kind of delta split into the trees. Oh, long TP for Resolution. Almost got caught there, actually.
And those are all kills due to traps. Like, that's very good trap positions. They're not really at too many typical spots other than the rune spot. And it's not even at large camps either, where they're expecting people to farm. It's where they're expecting people to walk. There's a huge choke point up in the enemy jungle here. They're very likely to walk through this path if they're trying to not be found. Same thing goes for this one. Little tiny paths here and there, and they put the traps on them so they can spot the enemy heroes so that they don't need observer wards to see where they are.
Yeah, great point. All right, CDEC spread out right now. Only one outer tower remaining. Looks like Shiki will just do a little bit of pressure on it as the Undying secures his solar crest. Just getting more and more utility items. Shiki still has this Aegis of the Immortal, though. Oh, actually a lot of time. 2.5 minutes on it still. Empire struggling to kill tier 1 towers right now in the bottom lane. EMP does connect on aggressive, so he'll be forced back. But CDEC splitting up the map very effectively here, Purge.
It's still really tough for him to blink dodge anything. They do get the tower, which is good for him, but level 13 doesn't have any exhorts yet. He probably, you know what he really needs is a Deafening Blast here. It'll be really good when he gets his exhort level because the Deafening Blast skill will be able to disarm for up to 4 seconds. And CDEC's very right-click heavy. That works for Ember Spirit. That works for TA. Prevents him from attacking. But TA's got that whole BKB thing that kind of makes that harder, but you know, it's another solution. Empire's or Silence in trouble, actually. No BKB for him, and he reflects some damage. But
another easy pick off. And does he actually have the BKB completed? He does. It was on the courier, though. That's a little bittersweet there.
I don't know if it would have even kept him alive, honestly.
Yeah, that's probably.
It was looking bad either way.
Well, Empire trying to split here as Resolution and Yoku put some damage onto that tier 2, but CDEC are charging right up the high ground. They go in onto the Winter Wyvern. Cold Embrace as well as the Shallow Grave buys him some time, but Shiki uses the BKB, wants the Wyvern, but can't finish him off. Compliments of that Glimmer Cape. And this 10-second BKB from Shiki, a little bit underwhelming. Still with the Bloodseeker down, CDEC may continue to siege, or not. They'll rotate up top and go for the easy tower.
I think they landed the EMP on the Ember Spirit as well, so it really limits his ability to do things. He's actually a very mana-intensive hero. Searing Chains and Flame Guard, that's 220 mana. Every Sleight of Fist is 50, and if he wants to use his ult, it's 150. Manta 165 as well. He really needs much more than 300 mana points to be effective in a team fight, so that's probably why they backed off.
Yeah, and just like that Chaos Knight, one of the reasons drums is a core item on the Ember Spirit for most builds. Yep. The movement speed also helps, but yeah, that mana pool is definitely an issue. So outer tower is all dead here for Empire. It's just high ground that they need to defend. And this is where space around the map for them becomes difficult. You take a look at Dire Vision, and they've got very aggressive wards. And this is not even side traps, just ward coverage all over Empire's jungle. So if they leave that base, CDEC will have eyes on it, and they'll be looking to gank.
They're positioned waiting for it. Ember Spirit comes back, grabs Silent on the mid lane. Does he have BKB? He does this time. Will he pop it? No Rupture just yet. Cast Rupture now, BKB, and now that's it. Ember Spirit's finally going to die, I think, here. Throws another hit. He doesn't get him. I can't believe it. It was so close. That would have given him like a full heal or something.
And now on the other side, Yoku trying to run for it. Looks like he will make it out. Shiki doing a lot of damage onto Aloha Dance. Cold Embrace buys him some time, but now the Cavalry's here. Another Grave will buy the Wyvern some time, but just time is all. He'll end up falling. Now Resolution gets dove on in the base. No escape, and Empire feeling like their options are limited here. Searing Chains on 2. Dazzle dies, and this is about to be a 5-0 wipe. That's it, all in the grave. There are a couple of buybacks here, but Empire may be tempted to just tap out and go to the next game at this rate. This is turning into a bloodbath. Here we go, double buybacks used. They will fight it out.
Still got it. They're not giving up yet. They've got Vacuum Wall as well, so Tornado comes through, doesn't catch the Ember Spirit.
All right, CDEC, they're not going to stop here. They don't no longer have the Aegis. That was used, but okay, now we go in. Yoku doing some good damage, finishes off the Tusk, but it will cost him his own life. Darkseer's down, now Resolution on the run. A lot of damage coming his way. Laguna Blade will finish him off.
That's got to be
it. That's it, GG.
Man, Empire was in such a good position in the early game, but CDEC basically just did the 5-man strat, and the hard carries of Empire weren't there. It's a Bloodseeker. Again, Bloodseeker shows that late game, he's not comparable to a typical hard carry. Yeah, you've got Rupture. Yeah, you can snowball with it, but he shows his weakness again, and CDEC plays around it. Prevent the ganks, and your farm is mediocre at best.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw that the weakness of Invoker just in general on
that
this
as
patch.
well, yes.
You know, we talked about the difference between Wex and Exort, but he just felt like he didn't have much of an impact. Even the laning stage went pretty well. They put a lot of pressure on trying to quote-unquote shut down the TA, but after those first 2 deaths, Shiki recovered no problem, and once Resolution got the Orchid, they were ready and waiting, and they shut him down at almost every turn.
Yeah, it was definitely a very tough game there, but a mix of problems with the draft, I think, and the laning stage obviously didn't go ideal, and maybe we could even criticize Silent's progression in terms of items. Maybe he should have just gotten a BKB earlier. Maybe Midas Bloodseeker is really not the right item, but you know, then their late game items come slower. It's hard to say, but he spent all these items just to build up to a BKB, and until he had the BKB, he wasn't useful. I think maybe the major mistake we could say is maybe skip Midas that game because he was behind. Go for the BKB. Just start winning team fights. Because if you're not winning team fights, Bloodseeker's not going to snowball anyways. So I'm not sure.
All right, well, we've got one more game left tonight, folks. I'm Zyori, he's Purge, and we'll have Game 2 of Empire versus CDEC coming up in a minute. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our final game of the evening here on the 3rd stream for the International 5 Day 2 of the group stage. We're here in Group B. We've got Empire versus CDEC. I'm Zyori, he's Purge. CDEC actually taking Game 1 of this series in a very convincing manner. Some drafting issues perhaps from Empire, but still great execution from CDEC.
Yeah, very different from the previous set we watched, which was absolutely close between Virtus Pro and Team Empire. Every fight coming down to the wire. But that one just was a clear team fight advantage every single time. So again, CDEC banning out the Naga Siren, maybe the hero. Kind of a tough lesson for Empire to let CDEC learn if you think about it, because VP ended up 2-0ing CDEC, and I felt like a lot of that came down to Naga ulti. And I feel like CDEC learned that lesson there, and that was maybe the advantage that allowed VP to beat them, and now they're just not even letting Empire touch that. So in a way, you think about the order of all the games happening, and if two teams with similar play styles, if one of them plays the same guy first, the other team might think of the solutions and come back and not let them get that free 3 points. Not that it's free by any means, but it's a strat, and once you first play against the strat, you don't know the solution as well.
Yeah. Empire completely switching up their approach, though, with these initial bans. Undying and Tusk, we have not seen these two in that first banning couplet really at all today in the games you and I have covered. And this is Empire saying, all right, that old rulebook worked. Now we need to do something a little bit different. So we've got Queen of Pain, Bloodseeker, Shadow Fiend. They've all made it through the pool here. Gyro does get banned out by CDEC, but Empire will have their pick of the litter here. And they go Leshrac. That's the other one that made it through.
Yeah, haven't seen them any Leshrac. I actually thought last night, I was like, man, I haven't seen them any Leshrac. That's surprising. But I was like, oh, that's right, it's banned every single game.
Him and Gyro now, those are the two that are just like always banned out for the most part. Maybe Naga will be that instant ban throughout the majority of this tournament, especially once we get towards the main event. But Lesh, scary as ever. I think seldom a hero you ever really want to go up against. And you know, we saw some teams, Cloud9 comes to mind earlier, just yesterday, where they let the Lesh through. They had AM, Pugna, their little pocket strat ready to rock and roll, and Lesh just ran over him. I mean, this hero feels very strong to me.
All right, so CDEC picking the Bounty Hunter. They go for the Queen of Pain as well. Pretty even with Quap versus Leshrac in the mid lane, but Bounty Hunter roaming on top of that makes things a little bit tougher. So very likely we'll see a support from Team Empire come to cover the Lesh mid or put a sentry down there. In addition to that, we'll see if Empire can deal with a bounty like we've seen a couple other teams deal with it. We've been seeing a lot of bounties still, but a lot of teams seem to be figuring out how to defend against the roam. We saw Virtus Pro defend against the bounty earlier, and we'll see if Team Empire can do it as well.
Bane, the second pick for Empire. Definitely a change of pace. Great lockdown against the Queen of Pain. Both Fiend's Grip and Nightmare, obvious synergy there with the Leshrac to set up for Split Earths and just follow-up damage in general when they're locked in place. I like it. You don't see Bane picked up this early very often, but
he's been pretty popular this tournament, actually. Maybe not drafted this early, but in a lot of ways he's a bit of a safe support. He's very strong at level 1. Really high movement speed. I think he's about 315 or something like that. He has a good animation. It's a little bit low range, but really good base stats as well. He gets 22 in all of his 3 things. So decent armor for support at 4, I believe. Good animation, good damage. Mana pool's a bit weak, and the best part is his first skill is usually Brain Sap, which does 90 pure damage and also heals you for that amount. So if you're trading with one hero, you can almost always win the trade with Bane.
Yeah, definitely. So next few bans on the way. Sneaky offlaners here banned out by Empire, both Darkseer as well as the Broodmother. CDEC, they'll ban out the Earthshaker and thinking about their 4th. So what else has made it through here? I feel like there's a couple other heroes that we're missing that have been highly sought after. Yeah, Bloodseeker's one of them.
I don't know if Empire's going to want to draft it again, though, after that game.
Winter Wyvern also still in the pool.
Yeah, it was a hero that prioritized in the last game. Dazzle is also not picked by either team. I don't know if I would want a Dazzle and a Bane on the same team. Bane's very single target. They did ban out a PL, so maybe you don't have to worry too much about AoE carries, but maybe it's a bit too weak on the offensive department. But it's pretty good with Leshrac, I guess. Maybe a good solution there. Clockwork, the pick for CDEC, very good against Bane and Lesh. A hero that was maybe the most popular offlaner right when we started the tournament, but since then it's pretty much just definitely been all in on Tusk. Clockwork more situational now.
Yeah, in the wild card we saw quite a few Clockwork bans, and like you said, sort of as the tournaments progressed, we've seen him prioritized less and less. Still very strong though. Rubik will be the second support.
Great
another
counter.
Good setup with the Lesh, and
counters the clock completely, because if he hook shots and battery assaults on one of the supports, you just like, oh, lift you up Clockwork and you throw him away, and then less damage being done there. So Rubik, a very good counter there. It's a support that's not picked as much by the Western teams. Seems like the Eastern teams really like him, but still very, very good hero. He can steal Quap Ult, he can steal Quap Blink, he can steal Track from Bounty Hunter.
He is a tried and true classic for Empire, though. They're definitely one of the Western teams that plays a lot of Rubik.
Is it Always Wanna Fly that usually plays him? Or
I believe so, but they're also one of these teams that switch around their Rubik player, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But I believe it's usually Always Wanna Fly, yeah.
All right. So next pick from CDEC here, they are missing one support and a hard carry, unless they do put Queen of Pain in the safe lane. It's been seeing a lot of teams doing that.
Yeah, they could take like a Shadow Fiend and put Quap safe lane. That is definitely an option here. Don't know they really want to match that up against
SF. I don't like SF, because they're really lacking disables or slows or any kind of hold people in place, with the exclusion of Clockwork, obviously. So I feel like SF is not really a good pick here. In addition, I feel like it'd be very easy for any one support plus Lesh to kill an SF in the mid lane, so that'd be kind of tough. Not that that happens that often, but it seems like most roaming lately has been two, although VP did do a lot of roaming with their Crystal Maiden, so who knows. Yeah, a Visage, okay, not expecting that one at all, but kind of a cool pick. The first synergy that I'm seeing is the way Visage's second skill works is as you take damage, or any heroes, your allies or your opponents take damage, you get these soul counters, and it allows you to throw a big nuke on a 4-second cooldown. And the hero that does amazing AoE damage, Leshrac. So as Leshrac does damage, you can very quickly throw out nukes very often. But most people prioritize Visage around his familiars and some minus armor strats. So maybe it's not as much focus on soul assumption, maybe more on other things, like you can use the bats to kill or to stun Bane as Bane is trying to Fiend's Grip you. And it's also physical damage coming from a support role, which is good against Lesh. So maybe that's the solution, or maybe that's the purpose here.
You also have familiars that can interrupt the channel of Bane's ultimate if they're in the right position.
Yep.
Another little minor bonus there.
Yeah, they're very good at that.
Don't forget, CDEC is the Viper team. They're the ones that we mentioned before that really like Viper more than any other team on this patch. And
is this the Viper? It's pretty good against Lesh, I guess.
Yeah, it's good in the lane. And I'm looking at that. It's just they don't have too many other hard carries that are available that they play frequently. They play a little bit of Shadow Fiend. We already talked about that. They do play Drow Ranger quite a bit as well, so it could be a Drow Visage.
They have Bounty and Clock that's 2 melees. I feel like it's 2 all-in, and it's really bad against Spirit Breaker.
Yeah, I don't disagree
with you.
Gust
the charge? I think you can.
But it is definitely in their top play, just to throw it out there.
I like the SB pick from Empire here. It's very good against Bounty Hunter. If you ever find where he is, you charge him down, and with a Dust, you can usually catch him.
Also good against Quap.
Yeah, very good against Quap as well. Another hero that's very hard to chase in most cases. So they've got very good stuns on Empire right now. Pretty good teamfight disruption, and Spirit Breaker can be the tanky hero that they need to cause disruption and allow Lesh to have a bit more survivability due to positioning.
Yeah. So what does Team Empire ban out here? This is a tough last ban. Really not sure what CDEC is looking for.
Well, it's
I think Viper could be. Carry. Yeah, Viper could be a ban they consider if they really just don't want to deal with that.
I mean, Viper's pretty good against Lesh, but I don't know if it's that amazing.
Yeah.
I would almost rather see an Ember Spirit instead, maybe. Maybe Ember is a little bit weak as well against SB. They kind of counter each other in some ways.
Yeah. If you can get the Searing Chains off, then
They do end up
that's
banning
great.
the Drow Ranger in
Okay.
anticipation of that being one of CDEC's combos. Would have given them some pretty strong lanes. Quap most likely would have been able to stomp his lane a little harder than usual. And
Yeah.
Rubik would have definitely been very vulnerable to Visage Bats later on in the game. So that would have been tough.
They take the
is
Razor.
pick. Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
So,
it's basically like Viper, but I think fits the situation a lot better.
yeah.
Very similar hero, but more physical damage and a lot more physical damage with right click at least.
Yeah, a little more versatile, able to steal some damage against a hero like Juggernaut, the final pick for
I
Empire.
haven't seen a Jug in a while.
No, we have. I'm trying to think if I've seen any Jug in all the games that I've watched so far.
I still think he's a good hero though. Maybe not amazing versus Quap because she goes Orchid often, but Omni Slash is good against Razor, at least in the early game. Pretty good against Visage. Can you Omni Slash the birds for a one hit? I don't know right now, but you can definitely Omni Slash Clockwork in the early laning stage. He can try to cog push you back, but as a whole, I feel Jug can definitely solo kill a Clock, and he can definitely go the typical items, the old Manta, Mask of Madness, Scotty, into Butterfly, or whatever other item you need third, and be a serious threat in terms of carry potential. So
Yeah, tried and true classic for solo as well. And can't forget about that healing ward. Great for the style that Empire
Yeah.
likes to play. That mid game centric, very team fight heavy. That percentage based regen is pretty darn potent. Very good with the Lesh.
it's kind of interesting to see how TI5's been so far. There haven't been that many super hard carries. Like, there haven't been a lot of heroes that do very serious damage output, similar to, like, we had Troll and Sniper. And yeah, they built them very agility-based in the last patch and didn't have that much damage, but it's just the hard carries that have been picked are very mild in most cases. A lot of Razors and things like that. There have been anti-mages and stuff like that, but as a whole, pretty limiting. Oh, did they spot him? They did. They did spot the Bounty Hunter. So maybe they'll anticipate the ward being there. Do they have sentries? They do. 2 sentries on Bane. They saw the bounty there. Will they expect the ward being there? They actually have their ward on the same spot. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see who wins the Sentry battle here. So Team CDEC, they're up 1-0 in this series. Q, he'll take the Visage. Looks like possibly. Well, we'll see how they lane this here. Aggressive, he'll be on the Queen of Pain. XZ on the Clockwork. And, they'll be repelled from this bottom bounty rune. Looks like Empire will secure themselves. 1 for the Lesh. And up top, let's see, can Yoku grab it? He certainly can.
They won.
Yeah, there you go. Garter on the Bounty Hunter. And who do we have left here? Oh, it's Shiki. He's on the Razor, and he'll be here farming in the safe lane. So, is this a 2-1-2 coming out of CDEC? Sure looks like it.
Let's see. Quap Visage
It's an interesting
versus
lane.
Jug Rubik. It's pretty good, I guess. It's a little scary. Visage has pretty high base starting strength, so I feel like it's okay for them. They're going to be a little bit less on harassment. Rubik does have a boot start. So, I guess it's all right. It could go either way, I think. But slight harass advantage coming out of CDEC here.
Yep.
Oh, it's actually a tri-lane. They're shifting over the bounty. Well, yeah, it's a roaming bounty hunter, of course. But he's got to use his invis. I think that got spotted by... Yep, got spotted by Always Want to Fly here. He's actually pulling immediately. So that'll give him some slight EXP advantage down here.
Yeah, looks like Garter will just linger around. Happy to leech some XP. Needs to be a little bit careful until he finds level 2. Bane, he's used one of his sentries. Still hanging on to the other. I'm not sure where that sentry got off to. Or did he just give it to somebody? Where did he put it?
We put a sentry run on the camp.
Yep, here it is.
Where is it?
Oh, no, that's a Dire. That's a Dire sentry.
I'm not sure where it went, actually. He did have 2 before. Maybe he got dewarded or something. Did you give it to the Spirit Breaker? I don't know.
Yeah,
not sure where it
maybe
is.
he must have gotten dewarded. That's the only
Must have.
only thing I can think of here. So, all right, mid matchup, we've got now Clockwork versus the Leshrac. And it's a safe lane Razor. Man, it's been a long time since I've seen a mid Clockwork.
Yeah, I was so confused when you said that. I was like, what the heck is he? But it is actually
It
a
actually
Clockwork
is a
mid.
big Clockwork, especially when there's a Quap and a Razor in the game. That's really surprising. I feel like Lesh should just dominate this matchup, but the Clockwork is getting some okay farm from these initial waves.
I mean, I would hope so if you're in the solo position. Clock is typically not a very normal mid hero because he will get out farmed by far since he is melee. And at the point where Resolution on the Leshrac gets a lot of mana, he can very easily zone him back. But there is potential for solo kill, and if Clock grabs some good runes like Haste or Invis, he can potentially get solo kills on Lesh in return. So it'll come down to rotations as well. If he gets in melee range, he can easily kill Lesh. But if he stays and tries to farm, Resolution will out-farm and out-harass him.
Yeah, I mean, Clock mid can definitely get a lot done, but one of the issues is that he needs to rotate about and use that hook shot, and that's often where you can let that other mid laner get a lot of farm, and you need to make every single gank count. So this is exciting. I mean, I'm pumped to see CDEC do something a little bit different here, Purge. I'm not sure how well it'll work, but it's definitely interesting.
So Silent opting for the early stats, actually. Just one spin, one stat right now. Bounty Hunter, as of late, hasn't actually done anything, just moved around the map a little bit, done a couple pokes here and there. Doesn't even have level 2. And as with that result, their trialing is actually not very strong just yet. So I feel like Empire has a much better chance of getting a kill here. They could even do a silence into a silent spin on the Juggernaut.
Well, Yoku stationed to charge the mid lane, perhaps, in the trees. Missing off the map, but
it's level 3.
Looking for an angle that this may be hard to see coming for the Clockwork.
It's kind of difficult. Does he have battery assault even? He does. It's only level 1 though, so if he does charge in, he could definitely get that kill. And he's going to follow
aggressive down bottom, telekinesis forward. Now blinks back to safety. Okay.
No surprise.
Yeah, no chance for follow-up there.
It's actually a hard lane to kill. It has to be on the Visage, basically. Can't be on anybody else. And
you can see how far back he was playing here.
Like, these lanes are just so weird, and the play seems like there's no potential for getting kills either, because like the Quap is going to be the one that's sitting forward.
Well, that's what happens when you don't upgrade your courier.
That was a lot of gold.
345. Let's see what was on it here.
Boots bottle.
Yep, Boots bottle for Resolution.
What a loss. That is so
a
painful.
Huge courier kill.
That's actually an incredible kill. Man, he's going to be, especially against a Clockwork now. Now he has to threaten dying. He can't abuse the mana.
Set up down bottom. They put aggressive to sleep, and then they go on to Q. This could be your first blood, and it is. Silent draws it. Aggressive has a blink. He'll use it and be okay for now. Clockwork actually gets the counter kill onto the Rubik. Very nice for him.
That was really important, too, because they could have denied him if that rocket didn't land. So they score the kill. Big pickup.
Charge on to the mid Clockwork. Is Yoku actually going to commit to this? Yeah, nope. Okay, Lightning just to harass, and then he will back off. Smart play. I don't think he really wanted to dive that tower.
They got him to force the invis as well, so he can't use that offensively. If he had that invis, he, like I said before, he could approach on Resolution and potentially cog him in. They do have a sentry in the position. This has been there the whole time, apparently, at least for the last 2 minutes. This is probably where the sentry went.
Oh, but, yeah, there's just creeps that were blocking
yeah,
it.
that's probably why we couldn't see it on the map.
Yep, that's it exactly. Good detective work, Purge.
Thank you. That's why I'm here. So Observer Ward may have spotted Aloha Dance here on the Rubik. He's approaching from a way that may not get him spotted. Pulls the creep wave back. Will he grab him? He's not able to.
Good positioning from the Clock.
Yeah, Clock pretty fast, 365 with boots here.
He's now level 6, has the hook shot. Resolution uses the salve right away. Close. And, yeah, very smart. So Courier up in 45 seconds. Still a while before Resolution can get his boots and bottle.
Yeah, he's doing fine, though. You know, one kind of cool thing is now that he doesn't have the bottle, he doesn't have the chance going to the rune spots and dying. So he's just really safe here, farming away. Spirit Breaker being fairly zone level 4 versus the Quap, who's almost 5. I guess that's fairly comparable. But the CS is not. Spirit Breaker at 6 last. Looks to be a bit better for CDEC here on the map.
Yeah, this aggro try for the Dyer's kind of devolved now, and everyone's just been moving about. Garter still not really having the biggest impact. Level 3, so at least gets that point in Shuriken. Rubik gets the bounty rune. It could cost him his life, perhaps. Garter hits him with the Janata, and telekinesis will be enough for him to survive as Resolution starts to rotate over.
And unfortunately, the Clockwork wasn't in the area. Otherwise, he very easily could have landed a hook shot. So,
yeah.
Hey, they still have their ward up for about 5 more seconds. Does he see Aloha Dance? He does. He sees him. If he gets a hook shot here, this is a kill. He's not moving. Is he going to chance it, though? He lost his vision.
Take a look at Dire Vision here. Completely dark.
He had it, though. He maybe could have gone dangerous under tower, and he probably would have just gone lifted. So, yeah. Throws the rocket, spots him out, hits 2. Ping as well, and he may just go somewhere else now.
Yeah, he wants to make the most out of this early hook shot, which is definitely the right idea with a Clockwork mid. This is, as you mentioned, he'll get out farm. This isn't the kind of mid like a Shadow Fiend that wants to sit there and farm. He wants to get that level 6, get some early experience, and then make it happen.
Quap.
Yup, set up for the Lesh, and that's an easy
was-
kill for Empire.
Man, and that's just a 4-second nightmare. And that's the powerful thing about the skill. It's kind of similar to Naga Sleep. It gives you this unnaturally long setup time. The TP into the 2-second splitter stun, and that's a dead hero.
Yeah, it's just so easy for Lesh. Yoku up top, losing all of his damage yet again. It's part of the reason why his CS is so poor, because he just doesn't do any damage. He hits for nothing. He's still trying, but it's not working out.
And he's opted for the max Charge of Darkness build, so he has to bash to get a last hit here. 17% chance to get a last hit.
Well, I guess
That's
better
tough.
to get that bad RNG out on the creeps rather than on the heroes.
That's very true. But with the max bash build, or the max charge build, sorry, it guarantees the longer stun duration. And against evasive heroes, that's really important. Like against a Quap, if you don't have the higher charge levels, then oftentimes you can't get your ultimate after. So you have to go this build against heroes like Quap that can get away.
That's a good point. Aloha Dance and Garter kind of crossing paths here. There is Dust ready and waiting on the Rubik. Surely Garter's scouting that out, just continues to harass and be that irritating bounty hunter. Clockwork finding another invisibility rune here at the 8-minute mark. Could be scary.
Oh, Resolution is chasing this. Here comes the charge. He's got a blink in about 6 seconds. Keeps throwing the lightning. He's going to have a stun and another spell in a second.
Oh,
here's the
Aggressive's in
charge.
big
Here
trouble
comes the
here.
stun. He's a little bit out of position. He messed up a little bit. He
Oh,
threw
no.
another lightning to be greedy there, but he needed to have the stun follow up after the charge.
Now they
and
might get
Quap's able to
punished.
get away. Yeah.
CDEC here, they're starting to tighten
Oh,
up.
the hook shot lands.
Right onto Resolution. They'll be able to charge a Darkness away. The Spirit Breaker will live. Resolution on the run. Battery Assault doing a lot of damage. Aggressive. Blinks forward. Lesh wanted to turn and hit him with the lightning, but he just couldn't. As CDEC get another one up on the scoreboard. Now 2 apiece, just shy of the 9-minute mark.
Yeah, that's the misplay of the Lesh. They should have had that kill, and if they would have gotten it, I think that would have been worth it. And maybe even Lesh would have survived if he didn't have that extra blink scream at the end. So, pretty big mistake there. Spirit Breaker did live, though, I believe.
Yep,
yeah,
he
has
did.
not
He was
died.
able to charge away. Now, all the while, Silent has just been farming away in the safe lane. Really same for the Razor. Shiki's getting a lot of farm himself. Looks like he'll just go for that very standard early mech. And Jug, what's he got here? Ring of Health, Sage's Mask.
What's he building? It's not cool. I knew that. I just figured I would confuse you like
Yeah,
before.
but the Ring of Health, a little bit interesting here. Do you think it's just a casual ring? I mean, is he going to go like a Battle Fury or something crazy here?
I mean, it could be a Battle Fury. If the game gets really delayed, Battle Fury is one of the fastest farming items in the game, and Phase helps with that as well because you can get from camp to camp really fast. So it's a possibility.
Atypical for sure.
Yes, very, very atypical. But I think if you look at CDEC's lineup, you say, like, wow, look at all these semi-carries, and it's basically a Razor and a Quap. And
Oh,
that's
hook
it.
shot on Always Want to Fly. That's an easy pick there for the Dire. Bounty Hunter gets that one.
By the time I got there, he was already dead.
Yeah, he just
Super
went
dead there.
full to 0 in blink of an eye.
I guess that was a bounty scout because I didn't see any awards in the
Yep,
area, so
exactly
not too
right.
surprised in there.
Yep.
But yeah, the Battle Fairy build is something that'll supercharge his farm, and maybe why he's going for that, because I assume that's the only reason he would buy the Ring of Health. If he wasn't going for this, if he wanted health gain, he would just bought a Mask of Death, which is a very common Juggernaut item build into the Mask of Madness. So
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. The casual Ring of Health is just not really great value on a hero like Jug when, something like a Mask of Madness gives you so much more when you're ulting and synergizing with your hero. Oh, their smoke gets broken. They know Garter's got to be nearby, so they do dust him. He'll move into the tree line and try to TP home, but the lift is there, and it'll be a dead Bounty Hunter for sure. Silent getting credit for that one.
and immediately transitioning into the stacked jungle creep camp, which they will farm. So they're happy about that one. Didn't have to use Omni Slash either, so that was pretty cool for them. They've got to be happy.
Yeah, 4 points in stats here. He's going for the second point in Blade Fury and just that value crit here, level 1.
Yeah, if we compare that to Chaos Knight crit, it is already better than level 4 Chaos Knight crit with 1 skill point.
Yeah.
That is why Jug was overpowered, guys.
Yeah, it's
value
a pretty
point.
darn good crit, that's for sure.
It's even better than level 1 Phantom Assassin Ultimate.
Is it actually the best crit? Is there a better crit?
Phantom Assassin level 3 is better, but that's an ultimate.
yeah,
so
well, that's- yeah.
But the level 1, it's better than that. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, that is
so
nuts.
Clockwork roaming over, he's gonna find Jug. Jug can try to go for this, but he's gonna need a lot of hits before he goes for the Omni Slash. Omni will probably only do about 600 damage or so, 700 damage maybe.
Yeah, you see Clockwork in the offlane role where he's often under-leveled. You don't realize how beefy he is just naturally as a hero. Right now, just Urn of Shadows and Magic Wand, and he's got 1,100 HP.
Yeah.
Not an easy hero to fight with, relative to someone like the Bounty Hunter who's sitting here at like 650 at level 4.
And this is the reason that they don't put Clockwork in the mid lane, because he quickly becomes a bit useless. Not useless necessarily, but he is not going to carry your late game unless you get an insane amount of kills and never die.
Yeah. Yeah, you just have to control all of the other lanes, which is easier said than done, at least at the pro level. Yoku may find himself in some trouble here. Nope, Bounty Hunter goes the other way around. Looks like he'll go for the Hand of Midas. 700 gold nearly. I think this is the build he prefers on the Spirit Breaker. Just get that fast Midas.
A lot of SBs do this. The attack speed's good for more bashes. He's quite surrounded right now by about 4. His hookshot misses,
the hookshot just barely off the mark. Yeah, he just needs that extra experience as well. Spirit Breaker, another one of those heroes that kind of loses momentum towards the late game, and the Midas helps him keep up.
Yeah, he's just simply bad at farming pretty much, so having the Midas is really good to accelerate him. He actually does a charge here all the way under the Razor. He got zapped by that, but here comes the charge. They're also going to spot out the Clockwork and bash him in the meantime.
Yeah, oh my gosh, Resolution just barely lives. Aggressive doing a lot of damage. This fight going into many different directions here. Aggressive taking a lot of damage, but might still be able to live. Yoku now on the retreat from under the tower. Bane, the first casualty, or second casualty on Empire, and now Shiki comes in with the big damage. They bring down Silent. Aggressive just barely lives.
Man.
Resolution wanted to finish him off, but he couldn't do it. All of a sudden, it's a 5-0. Where did that come from? It looked like an even fight, but CDEC just split the damage. Empire couldn't focus fire, and it's a 3,200 net worth swing at the 13-minute mark.
That is just poor focus firing. They charged in on the Razor, and he just should have ultied the Quap or something like that, because he committed, and then they said, oh, we're going back in, we got to kill that guy, and then they backed up again, and they were just super indecisive, and the team fight was split as well. But
it seemed like a really chaotic split team fight, but the difference was that CDEC just kept kind of reinitiating and finding that numbers advantage.
So the charge is coming. They're going to try to stop this. The fast respawn times. He doesn't have his ultimate, though, and he gives up on the charge, which is really what he needs to do there. So
man, CDEC was hanging on to a minor lead, but now it's a 3K net worth and experience edge for this dire side.
Super big. They do kill one of the bats at least. Get themselves 100 gold here. And they still can kind of fight, but they're lacking some levels here.
Well, CDEC can certainly fight. They're going to go charging in here. Bounty Hunter in the front lines. Yoku losing a lot of damage, and conversely, Shiki starting to hit pretty darn hard. There we go. Aggressive blink from Aggressive. Putting some damage onto Aloha Dance. They just turn on to Always Want to Fly. He gets healed up, but it's not enough. He dies to the DOT. They don't even get the deny off. Oh, no. Q with some Soul Assumption charges, ready to rock, but won't get a chance to use them.
Man, they just can't run into the enemy team, and now, because they won that fight, Shiki here has a mech and an Ogre Club, so his survivability is through the roof right now.
And XZ will just go straight for the Aghanim Scepter so he can bounce around with that hook shot. Point booster already picked up, and the tower goes down. Shiki getting credit for that one. They might just go for another one here and keep pressuring. Empire are not in fighting shape right now.
Yeah, they aren't, and it's going to be a while until Silent feels really strong as well. He's only got level 1 Omni Slash. He's trying to build his Battle Fury. He's got the Perseverance ready. Oh, look at all the TPs. If they land the hookshot on Silent, he's super dead here. Looking for the juke. Will he be able to Omni Slash? He goes for the Omni. Might be able to. Oh, the mech is there, and that's going to keep him alive. The charge comes through, though. Maybe they will actually get one. They do. Silent's on the run. The hookshot's going to miss slightly, but the battery salt, the healing ward down as well, and they're healing at 2% per second. It's going to keep him alive just barely, despite the rocket. And they did it. They somehow got it.
Somehow, some way. The Juggernaut does it. All right, so that's a step in the right direction. That's a little pick-me-up there. The mech making it a much closer fight. But it hasn't even really started yet, Purge. The Bounty Hunter, 6 XP away from level 6, and that's when they can start really balling out of control if they continue taking fights the way that they are.
The Quap reading this perfectly. He's like, oh, Jug's going to come to the bot lane in last hit. But I think it's a hard kill. He's got about 750 HP. He's getting 5 per second from the Perseverance.
Got a Bounty Hunter on the way. I think the two of them can do it.
They can definitely do it with 2. This will be level 6 for Bounty. If they get one more creep, he'll level up. And now he's hiding. Rocket's going to hit him. They know. And there's the spin TP.
Blade Fury TP. Even that is a victory, though. Forcing Silent to head back to the well. That's time. He's not farming. He does pick up the Claymore, though, so this will be not really a decently timed Battle Fury, but he will have one.
Well, for a Juggernaut, I think it's pretty good because it's not as reliable the last hit. You have to actually be concerned about dying most of the time since you can't just magically teleport away in a short distance.
Yeah.
But I think he's pretty happy with this. He also has an Aquila, which is far more than what an Anti-Mage usually picks up in the early game. That's like a 1,000 gold item.
Yeah,
so
that's a good
really, his Battle Fury would be finished already if he did have that. Track comes out, though, and Silence says, okay, they know where I am. And again, really aggressive wards from CDEC. They do this pretty much every single game here.
Yeah, they like to bring the aggression, man. They get the tier 1 tower kill in the bottom lane. Empire with the same idea up top. But, oh, mid, are they going to go on the jug? Static Link steals some damage.
A lot of damage, 84.
And they will let him live, though, and they'll trade tier 1 for tier 1. Now, Resolution did go Yule's Scepter first on the Lesh, and does have it completed once he gets a turn with the Courier.
Probably as a setup to kill Queen of Pain, maybe, because they don't have... I mean, they do kind of have decent setup. He can dodge, he can use the clockwork,
Yeah.
I guess.
This build has
weird.
definitely been less popular. I feel like the early Bloodstone is kind of taken over as the prominent opening build for Lesh. Just so you're a bit beefier. The problem with the Yule's first is, sure, you're fast, but you just lack on stats. And he did go Power Treads to try and make up for it, but hold that thought as there's a hook shot onto Silent, stuck inside of the cogs. He will make it out, charge onto XZ. There's a lot of support on the way for both sides, but it looks like the Dire will have the numbers advantage. Huge Sonic Wave from the Queen of Pain, secures the kill on Bane and Rubik, but Omni Slash bouncing around, Yoku in there as well. They get the kill on Aggressive, and maybe even Q as well. It's a 2 for 2, and it's not done yet. Silent trapped in the second set of cogs.
Oh,
will end up
the
falling.
Shuriken bounce.
It could be another 5-man wipe. Yoku just barely makes it away thanks to Charge of Darkness. But again, it's CDEC with a great exchange, and this time they had track kills.
The Rocket's coming for him. Puts him low, 72 HP's track. They know where he is. Can he snipe him with the last one? 7 seconds left on the Rocket Flare. He knows that he knows. Here it comes. The Rocket. Here it comes. He's charging away.
Okay. Very smart. Well played by Yoku. Okay, so Handomitis did come out on the Spirit Breaker, though. He picked it up before that fight started when he charged out of the well.
Okay.
Just look at the Bounty Hunter, though. 2,200 gold after that fight because of all those track
Oh, man.
kills.
He had such a mediocre early game, too. He just hit level 6, and all of a sudden...
And he right-clicks a Force Staff.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Ooh, always want to play might die here. There's a hook shot.
Hook shot in,
Suicide.
stuck in the cogs.
Oh, okay, that was good.
And he's down.
Okay. It's a good attempt. 0, 5, and 3 for the Bane. Definitely a bit of a rough Bane game. Like, there's been a lot of Banes today, but that's a hero that has very specific uses and lineups, and it's tough to find the value in that hero, especially this game, I think. If he gets initiated on, he's in some trouble. If he's the one that's ganking with his ultimate or something, that's great, but the opposite is very difficult. No TP on Juggernaut here. If he gets caught, he's in trouble.
Well, set up mid. Yule's onto Aggressive. Will connect with a Split Earth. Now they've got a Telekinesis. But
Oh,
there's
great
support
force.
inbound. He's forced as well as mech. He'll just barely live. Now Resolution on the run. He is tracked up. They'll try and chase him down. He picks up a double damage rune, so he will be able to sip that bottle and regen up if he chooses to burn it. Split Earth connects onto Shiki, but that buys CDEC time to get there and close the gap. That's a Lesh in the grave.
If he would have popped his DD as he was running, he could have possibly bottled through that damage and maybe live, but he was trying to save it. Kind of hard to know if that was going to work. He had to go for the stun because Razor's actually faster than him.
Yeah.
Despite having nothing but... Oh, that was track-based. That's why. That's why he was so fast. So
Well, Stable Current, though, also gives him that.
Yoki maybe in trouble. Going to go for the TP. And the ultimate does have it, but missing about 100 damage.
Yeah.
He actually could have killed him there. He had about 500, and he would have ultied for 450. I'm sorry, that's with Scepter, excuse me. Probably not then.
Yep. Close, but now there's a BKB also on Shiki. Still hasn't been used yet. 10 seconds of magic immunity on the Razor as now CDEC move into the Roche Pit. They've got a medallion on somebody here. Yep, the Visage. And I don't think Empire are really in a position to try and contest this. They've even got an Illusion Rune to scout things out. CDEC are just in great shape in this game, Purge. There seems like there's nothing slowing them down. 7,500 net worth lead now.
With that said, Silent has gone for a much more efficient damage build. It's not very good right now. He could have built maybe Mask of Madness for 2k gold and had some really strong Omni Slashes, but as this game continues, he grabs a Yasha, maybe an SNY, he's going to be a huge damage threat in the fight, and much more so than a Razor that grabs a BKB. BKB does nothing against Omni Slash, for example, other than giving him an extra 190 HP, but that's 1 slash max. Out of it. So I feel like Silent's really going to accelerate and farm right now. And if this game does go late, it's still going to be okay for Empire. All they have to do is cut their losses, try to get some decent trades, and continue farming.
Yeah, it's true. Though, will CDEC let it go that late is probably the more important question at this point. We'll hold that thought, though, as XZ gets rotated on up top. The Clockwork, who's a 4-0 and 8, will finally be taken out. Yeah, that's a Fiend's Grip to lock him in place.
Oh, they actually come
Huge
back
rotation,
in.
But, the Sonic Wave from Aggressive connects on all of them. And Silent will get off his ultimate, bounces around, but Empire getting cleaned up here. They've already lost 2. Yoku tries to TP out, but Birds will be summoned and sent right back down to the ground. The Jug able to TP home. A 2-for-3 trade. CDEC finding the advantage. Good rotations there.
That's totally worth it for Empire. If you look at the fight recap, they only lost out by about 200 gold, 300 gold there. It's semi-significant, but Jug getting the kills. He finishes his Yasha now, so now he's extra fast. And it just snowballs him a little bit closer to just owning with Omni Slash and right clicks. So I think he's going to be pretty happy with that as a whole since they're behind.
Yeah.
Breaks the static link immediately, and now he can just last hit to his heart's content.
He's definitely scary with this Battle Fury.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
It sucked before, but now if you get to this point with an advantage, it's
really
starting to get really good. Like SNY into, I don't know, maybe Butterfly afterwards or something like that, and he gets really dangerous. Like, look how fast he farms. He's like an anti-mage, but he has a natural crit. Your farm rate just goes up so much with it.
Yeah. So how do you itemize after the SNY? You're talking about Butterfly. I mean, is something like an Abyssal a good option here for extra lockdown on the Quap? And
you can Abyssal because you would be able to Bashful your Omni Slashing. That's pretty cool, but usually you want to build attack speed items. Right. And he may actually go Manta over just Yasha to prevent a hypothetical silencer. But the problem is that Battle Fury doesn't really make especially good illusions. They're still pretty good because he's got a natural crit. It's not as good as something like Anti-Mage, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah. And
So,
he doesn't really need it to deal with the Queen of Pain. There's no Orchid there. Went for that Aghanims first, which has been picked up, by the way.
So he probably doesn't need Manta, I would say. It would help him against Clockwork is one thing. He can also remove Track with it if he does get Manta. So he may want to go something like Manta into heavy stats. He could go SNY Scotty, go Manta Scotty. I think both of those would be really good. Probably Manta Scotty better, I would say.
Well, some tower exchanging here. Tier 1 in the mid lane falls.
Ooh, hook shot
of
mid.
CDEC. Oh, right on resolution.
Great
What a Yule!
He's still dead, though.
Stops the ulti, but yeah, okay.
That was cool.
Nice play. Got me excited there for half a second before I realized, oh, he's dead anyway.
And he may not even realize that was coming.
Yeah.
He was pretty screwed as soon as he got hookshotted.
Yeah.
See, this is one of the downside of the Yules built this game. I feel like this should have been a force instead. Like maybe a force rush into a Bloodstone or maybe a point booster into a force might have been better. Like the movement speed's great and the setup is great and you can remove track from yourself and all that good stuff, but he really needs a Clockwork counter. If he gets hookshotted, he's committed. If his team's not there, he dies. It's that simple. So, I don't know. I don't much like the Yules this game. I feel like it's not of much use offensively, and its defensive use is also a bit mediocre here.
Yeah. Well, CDEC continuing to take objectives. They've got about a minute left on the Aegis, maybe a minute 20, and they want to make as much use of it as possible. Aggressive also with a double damage rune on. They took the Tier 2 bottom and traded their mid Tier 1, and now they'll pressure the Tier 2 mid. There is a glyph for the Radiant, so Empire could try to mount a defense and take a fight, but they really don't want to do that. They'll sack it, and although they're pressuring the top Tier 2, not really putting much damage into the tower. At least not yet. And of course, as I say that, Silent comes in and starts giving it the old chop chop.
He does ultimately go for the Manta style recipe, so we'll be a Manta. Aloha Dance spotting out the Razor, and he's going to give it the right click. It does get denied by Razor nicely down there, but a dead tower is a dead tower, and they get the gold, and that's a Manta style. So Silent is in a very scary position right here for CDEC. They have to be very worried about this. His net worth is comparable to the Razor's. Which guy do you really fear, though? Well, all right, Razor's got 4K gold in the bank. That's pretty scary. But Silent does a lot of damage right now, and as his Omni Slash gets to 16 as well, it's an even bigger threat.
He does a lot of damage, but what's scary for Empire is right now all of their eggs are in the Juggernaut basket. If Silent makes a misplay, if they somehow catch him off guard, they don't have much outside of him. So there is a lot on Empire to take these fights, and exactly the right style of choreography. Here we go. Set up the Splitter will connect. They're going to finish him off here. Very nice. That Pulse Nova just does too much damage.
Yeah, great.
But now onto Silent. Hook shot in. Gardner was scouting it out. He'll try to Blade Fury away. He does have the Omni Slash here. Charge coming in onto XZ, but still manages to get off the cogs. Knocks Yoku into the low ground.
Great mech.
Stuck in the trees. Yeah, mech. They tank all the way through that Omni Slash, and now Silent is dead. Those cogs were just so perfect for the Spirit Breaker. It made Yoku a non-factor. Now XZ connects with another hook shot. He's got the Aghanim Scepter. He uses the Charge of Darkness, but cancels it straight away, and now the Spirit Breaker dies as well. It's a 2-for-1 around the map with CDEC yet again finding the advantage. Both of those track kills.
Man, that Omni Slash actually did nothing there. It looked like, I think if you used it instantly, it would have been okay. but I know the Clockwork. No, Clock didn't have the Force. It was the Bounty with the Force. I feel like he should have used the Omni Slash right at the start when the Clock was very segmented because it gave them time to catch up, and then it resulted in the Force of the Clock into the rest of the group in the mech. It's hard to say, though, because he probably wouldn't have killed him with just the Omni Slash. That's why he attacked him a few times first.
No.
But
XZ walks right into it. Resolution nails him with a Split Earth, and that's just a freebie. But now the follow-ups here, aggressive. Throws out the ult. That'll be enough to finish off Aloha Dance.
I like that he stayed. That was good.
A 1-for-1, but it's a track kill going the way of CDEC, so they find an advantage there. Resolution on the run will probably be okay.
Maybe. They're going to blink after. Here's the Yules.
Aggressive is getting
He can
charged
maybe
here.
fight this. No, yeah, it's better just to run.
Garter's on his way in. He'll throw the Shuriken. Aggressive now, hit by Yoku. He does have another strike. Does he use it here, or does he just try to charge away defensively?
He's got to get out of here. All right, he's committing hard.
Bane on the way. Here we
could get
go. Another
lucky.
strike
Is that
onto
it?
Aggressive. Can we get the bash? No. Mech comes in, saves Aggressive, and they turn it onto the Spirit Breaker. Now Always Wanna Fly comes in to finish off the Quap, but the Brain Sap isn't enough. Another disastrous exchange for Empire. A 1-for-3 when it's all said and done.
That just didn't look good the whole time. Like, I just didn't see the Spear Breaker getting that kill. If he would have bashed, he would have gotten him, but he just didn't hit the bash. And 17%, man. Memes for days.
Sometimes it works for you, and sometimes, well, it works against you. What a strange number that is. Assault Kuras, though, picked up by Shiki on the Razor. That's what he was pulling up all that gold for.
Bloodstone finished on Leshrac, so some much-needed HP regen.
I like the AC here, though, against the Jug. Obviously, Cleave doesn't really care about the armor so much, but gives you a way to siege and also gives you a way to deal with this Omni Slash just a little more.
And now Jug's basically in a behind position. He's not close to his next item build, even though his farm is pretty comparable to Razor's. Oh, he gets hooked, actually.
Shot, here we go. XZ on point once more. There is an Omni Slash available.
Blocked by on illusions.
Does Silent even bother using it here? Does he just try to save it? Familiar Stun's taking him very low. They'll finish him off. That's another track kill for the Dire. Now onto Aloha Dance. Tracked up as well. Split Earth from Resolution. Does do some damage here. The Stolen Cogs from Rubik does push back Shiki. Drains some mana. Long range hook shot again. Onto Resolution. They've already killed the Rubik, and now Lash in a world of hurt. Uses the self-Yules. Does commit suicide with the Bloodstone, but it's still a dead Leshrac, and that grab possibly another tower. Nope, they don't have the creep equilibrium. Instead, they want another kill. They see Yoku mid, and he'll be forced to charge away.
That's a good place to charge to. Super good safety there.
Yeah.
But man, CDEC is just walking over Empire, and they're just not playing like they're focused, in my opinion.
Wow. Was the Naga really that good? Was that the secret to beating CDEC now that they're banning it out?
I think
it's almost like watching a different team when they were playing against VP.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of the teams that played against Naga, they play weird, and that's because they're afraid of the sleep, because it sets up so many dangerous situations that they've lost scrims to.
Yeah.
So it's very scary. I mean, we saw another mistake out of Silent as well. He Manta-styled, but his illusions blocked him in, and he didn't move him out of the way in time.
Yeah.
He just sat there and got killed.
A 29-minute Lotus Orb.
Ooh, hook shot onto
right onto Yoku. Yeah, they're going to pressure that, or punish that, rather, and it's a dead Spirit Breaker. Nothing he can do.
Yeah.
This is one of the earliest Lotus Orbs I've seen picked up. Usually it's not prioritized this early on. Not that often, at least.
I don't think it stops the Fiend's Grip, but you could do an Omni Slash response. You can Omni Slash with Lotus Orb.
Really?
Yes. It's pretty cool.
That
I saw
is
it a lot,
really cool.
I saw it a lot the day after, because that was right when the new patch came out.
Yeah.
Jug had been nerfed, but was still being played.
Right.
Because obviously people are like, oh, maybe they're still good, and they play their favorite carry, and then they realize they're a little bit worse, and they stop playing them. But I haven't seen it since then, really, on clubs at least.
No,
so it's good at that. Brain Sap, Fiend's Grip, a lot of Rubik spells you can reflect.
Yeah, it's a good item here. I see why he's prioritized it, but just
Spirit Breaker,
worth mentioning here.
Reflect that charge, baby.
There's something to reflect on everyone.
Yeah.
It's not that often that you have a Lotus Orb that's this good in a kind of scenario.
Did they find? Oh my God!
5 Hero
I
Smoke.
think they found him. He's TPing.
Find Aloha Dance. Can they get in range for the hook
the
shot?
The hook.
Oh, just falls short.
He should have launched a little early. Oh, his range was actually about there anyway. So
yep.
He did it appropriately. He's doing great. 5-2 and 14. Started off in the mid Clockwork, has shifted basically into an offlane hero. Really good clock this game.
I mean, we talked about the mid clock. You have to be active, and not only that, but you have to make your ganks count. And XZ has done just a fabulous job with that, moving around the map, knowing when to go in, knowing when to retreat.
31-minute Mask of Madness. Why didn't you build this with your first 2,000 gold? maybe he just realizes that the build he went is just not efficient. And this is like the way that Silent has played Juggernaut this game was basically how people used to play Jug before the Mask of Madness build was developed. And it's just not that good. It's like kind of good, but it's not amazing. And the Mask of Madness build was amazing.
Yeah.
And if he just would have built that early, some of those Omni Slashes might have actually killed some of those heroes.
Yeah, he's just not mobile enough, it seems like, as part of the problem to really utilize the Battle Fury. You know, we were comparing him to Anti-Mage earlier and some of the benefits of having the built-in crit and all that stuff, but, you know, AM can split push, he can clear out waves really easily and just bounce around. Jug can't really do that the same way, and since CDEC are being so aggressive, he just doesn't have anywhere to farm and really use that cleave. Now the siege to the high ground continues. Another double damager and up on the Queen of Pain. We'll get that Lotus Orb buff as they take out the Tier 3 tower. This
Scared
is
for the
rocky
charge,
here
I think.
for Empire.
Although they could have used the charge from the fountain. Maybe they'll wait for the Lotus Orb to go up, and then oh, nope, not going to happen. Going in on the Quap. There's the damage.
And Aggressive will use his BKB as soon as he gets hit by the charge. On the other side of it, Shiki taking some damage, but he's got the Aegis of the Immortal, so they're happy to put him in the front lines. Oh, that's huge for Empire.
Big movement speed advantage now going to Empire. That's the important part. And there's the next charge on Shiki. He's going to pop his ulti. Lotus Orb coming down as well, and they're going to have to disengage.
Oh, they were going to Omni Slash that, but great use of the Lotus Orb indeed. Now hook shot back in. Resolution isolated from the team. Takes a Soul Assumption. Sonic Wave connects on Silent. He gets an Omni Slash.
Good Omni. Oh, the damage to the Sonic Wave. Oh, no!
Oh, Silent with the Ultra Kill.
Oh, that Quap ult from Aloha Dance and Silent. Oh, and he bashes him. Oh, he uses the ult. It does that no matter what. But what a fight. Are they back into it?
I think they might be. Shiki, he's going to die definitely.
Rampage
for
Silent.
Silent.
My gosh.
Talk about recovery. Absolutely incredible. That is...
They had 25% more farm than Empire, and all of a sudden, man, that Sonic Wave...
This guy right here, Aloha Dance. The stolen Sonic Wave set it up for Silent to just completely clean house.
Yeah.
That Mask of Madness pickup, absolutely worth it.
It was already a really good Omni Slash. He hit the back line. It was all the supports. They were taking the damage. It was Battle Fury. But then that pure damage shredded through, and then it was panic mode, and they just got cleaned up. Big gold swing from that, I am sure. And that was...
It was like 8K
half
gold
of their advantage right there that CDEC had over Empire. And now things get really scary. Items are being purchased by Silent. It is almost Scotty time. And when he gets this, more attack speed, he's going to apply some slows and have way more HP.
Always want to fly. Stalked by Garter. Okay, no initiation there. And in the mid, CDEC only got the melee barracks. I mean, that's something, but not worth a Rampage and an Aegis going the way of this Juggernaut here.
They didn't even get a... Oh, they did get a Rax, I was going to say.
Yeah, they got the melee racks, but I hesitate to... not worth it, I don't think.
Yeah, probably not. Considering that they definitely got back in the game with that much gold. Like, Jug is by far the highest farm person in the game at the moment.
Yep, 2K net worth up on the Razor, who was very happily seated at that #1 position for quite a while. Shiki does have a lot of gold sitting on him right now, about 3.4K. Curious what he'll invest in next, if he goes for something like the Aghanims, or if he just continues to tank up like a Scotty of his own.
Which year are you talking about?
Razor?
I don't know his damage numbers. I hate looking at Razor late game because it looks like he has no damage at all.
Yeah.
When in reality he does from his ultimate, but he needs a solution towards the Jug, I think. Scotty's not a bad idea because it's a melee hero. You can deal with him that way, but I just don't know if that's the perfect solution. Scotty's up on Jug. He does way more damage. He can easily 1v1 the Razor if he doesn't get static linked, is basically the trade-off.
Yep. But now you can't run from him. That's the other big thing here.
Yeah.
CDEC, though, smoked up his 4. They'll rotate through with Gardner scouting things out. He's now picked up a Ghost Scepter in anticipation of this Jug being absolutely out of control.
They might initiate on a mid.
There we go. Hook shot in. They'll jump straight in. They get up the spin. He does have the Omni Slash here. There's
breaks the cogs. He's blocked again.
They'll finish him off. The nice Sonic Wave will bring him
no
down.
No buyback. He just bought Scotty.
Oh, no. After all that, this could be it. Does CDEC realize it? Are they just going to go for the GG push?
I mean, surely they see his items. They said, oh, he's got a new Scotty. He doesn't have the money, and there's the buyback from Bane.
Now, do you go tier 4s? Do you just go for the bottom? There is a tier 2 standing up top, so they can't take Megas here within the next minute, even if they wipe up Empire.
Just take a second Rax. 2 Rax advantage is massive. It's so hard to come back from that.
All right, now there is a glyph for the Radiant side, so they can try to delay things and make a bit of a hold.
Razor does 4 damage right now.
Oh.
That was the Aloha Dance ultimate because it's about to go away anyways. Can he steal a good spell? That's the question.
Right.
It's going to be an Axe for the Razor, by the way. Kerr is completely gone, so helps for pushing.
Yep. CDEC slow sieging this, though. Jug coming up in only 25 seconds. Really not too shabby.
I'm surprised they didn't take this. Hookshot goes in, though.
Right onto Resolution. Power Cogs. He will be able to make it onto the other side of the Cogs. Very nice indeed. Shiki getting his Fiends gripped right now, but he is BK beat up. Yoku on one side getting isolated.
Oh,
the Bane
double bash.
will end up going down. Does not get the deny, but he falls. Tier 3 tower, not really taking that much damage, and now the Jug up in just a couple of seconds. CDEC will be forced back. Yoku charging out of the base. Shuriken interrupts that cast point, but he will still get off the ultimate, and they turn on him. Sonic Wave from Aggressive, finishing off the Spirit Breakers. Now the Omni Slash bounces around. The Clockwork dies, but the Omni Slash is done. Now Resolution taking a lot of damage will go into the self-Yules. Q a bit too
Silence
far
got the
forward.
damage.
Silent will be able to live for now, but Resolution not so lucky. And CDEC, even though they don't get the barracks of the Tier 3 tower they were coming for, they still take an okay fight.
And those familiars are tanking a lot of the Omni Slashes, and it looks like each one is doing one source of damage to them.
Yes.
So they're a pretty good Jug counter right now, actually.
Especially now that he has the Ags.
Yeah, he's got an extra familiar there. A lot of heroes on CDEC able to squeeze out and not die there. They lost the range barracks, but I think that was pretty good for Empire. Only buyback on the Bane, I believe.
Yes,
Let me take a check.
only the
yeah,
Bane.
Just Bane. That's all right in this position, I think. The Enfeeble's actually really good against the Razor, and that's part of the reason the tower was taking no damage, because Razor has very, very low damage because you buy all these weird utility items. Assault Cuirass, no damage, just attack speed and the minus armor. You've got a BKB, almost no damage. Ags itself, almost no damage, and Mech as well, no damage. Razor just looks like a terrible damage hero, and it basically comes down to Static Link. He's only got his ult and Static Link that he can do damage to towers if he gets Enfeebled.
Yeah.
One of the few rare times that I feel like Bane's Enfeeble is really good.
Now, Aggressive completes his Shiva's Guard, so a little extra armor on the Queen of Pain and more utility. Great to have against the Jug as well as the Spirit Breaker at this point in the game. Garter scouting things out in the mid. Roshan still not past that 8-minute timer yet, but the next Rosh will definitely become a focal point of this game, as it will be Aegis and Cheese.
Jug's getting into a better and better spot now, though. I mean, he's got the Talisman Evasion. He's going to make a Butterfly next, and his Illusions becomes extremely strong, hard to kill. Him himself he's already very survivable. Not a lot of chain disables coming out of CDEC. It's mostly just a bit of burst damage and some good push, I guess, with Razor and Visage. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
He's getting a little out of control here.
They don't have any real great way to deal with the evasion. There isn't a natural MKB carrier. Quap doesn't really want to get it. Razor doesn't really want to get it. Bounty Hunter could, but no. I don't think that's really happening, nor would it really make a big difference. Butterfly, I think, definitely a good choice. And are CDEC going double? No, I guess, are they going to go? They're either going double Shivas or double Lotus Orb, and I imagine it's double Lotus with that plate mail on the clock. Because they already have an AC of Shivas and a Lotus Orb, so it's, it's a duplicate of something.
The Lotus Orbs are really good this game. We already saw it like counter the Rubik lift. The Rubik ended up lifting himself. There's so many things that it's good against in this game, so I feel like more Lotus Orbs is.
And if you can recast an Omni Slash, that's really huge.
Yes,
it's kind
that
of
would be really good.
They're banking on a little bit, perhaps.
But it's gonna be a little bit hard. The average good player like Silent is probably not gonna fall for that. It's pretty easy to read when it's a panic ulti, but most of the time it's hard to read it's actually time to go, and you don't want to actually be in the area to cast Lotus Orb when that happens.
Yeah.
Otherwise it gets scary.
Now, fast Roche respawn. CDEC will be the first to scout it out. They've got a familiar sitting in the pit. Empire not privy to it quite yet, and kind of lacking on ward coverage. They've got one on deep in the enemy jungle on the plateau, but it's just about to expire. CDEC utilizing that rocket flare to see where Empire are lingering about and if they're near the pit. This could end up being a nice, easy Roche here for CDEC.
Lesh is in a pretty good place at this point, too. I mean, there's a lot of self-sacrifice going on Empire. You have about 3 heroes that are doing very poorly, and it's pretty much down to Silent to try to carry his team here. Rubik also putting in a good performance. He's almost got an Ags of his own. He could steal some really good stuff here. Quap ult, Track, Razor ulti would be good, too. There's the smoke. They don't spot the ward.
Both teams smoked up right here, Purge. This is big. The winner of this will be able to claim Roche.
The smoke broke on the bats. They know they're up at the top. Low hat dance going in first. This is dangerous.
Hookshot in onto XZ. He's already got the Lotus Orb on. Resolution there as well. It looks like Empire could be in some trouble.
Double Omni Slash, I think.
Yep, they're bouncing all around. A lot of chaos here, but Resolution, the one that's getting low, he's forced to run out. It's Empire getting cleaned up here. They lost the Jug. They've lost 4. It's just the Spirit Breaker left alive, and perhaps not for long. He'll charge across. No way to interrupt it. He will make it out. This should be an easy Roche for CDEC. There's 2 buybacks available for Empire if they wanted to contest this, but there's just no way they can do it with only 3.
Yeah, I think the Clockwork got the Omni Slash off there with the Lotus Orb because
I think so
things
too.
got really crazy. And Jug was a little bit, he was inside the cogs, I believe, and he wanted to get out, so he Omni Slashed out, and it just did not provide anything good for them. I think it was a really big mistake to try to approach up the cliff like that. Maybe they should have wrapped around this way instead. That way it's even ground. But when you go up a hill like that, everything's so choked in. Yeah. And at that point, they stood around for a little bit too long, and the Clockwork hook shot started things off.
Absolutely. So this will be a nice, easy Roche for the Dire. Who grabs the Aegis and who grabs the cheese? Clockwork will get the second life, and Garter, he'll get that little bit of Gouda for the belly.
So Yoki doing his best to push the wave out, but all he's got is a Vlad's pretty much, more or less. Might get hooked here. Gets hooked!
Nice hook shot here from
BKB
XZ.
in 2.
They'll be able to BKB TP out. That's an 8-second BKB charge. More importantly, a BKB on cooldown for this upcoming fight. Empire have a glyph available here, but this tier 3 tower falling very quickly. They will glyph it. Eye of the Storm still with a lot of duration left on it here.
Somebody gets Lotus Orb, they should charge him, and then they would Razor has to charge back. But I don't know if they're doing that. Maybe they realize it might happen.
Still 10 seconds until the Omni Slash is available. CDEC feeling very comfortable on the high ground. They get the melee barracks first, now just range barracks standing. They've already got what they came for, but they want more.
5-second Omni.
Shiki takes the Enfeeble. Very low on right-click power right now. Clockwork isolated by the Yules. Caught by the stun, but remember, he's the Aegis carrier.
Oh, good bounce on Omni. Doing a lot of damage to the Razor. He's getting low, about half HP. He's going for him.
Oh,
a Fiend's Grip as well.
But can they actually finish him off? The Sonic Wave doing some big damage here. Silent stunned up by the Familiars. Aggressive BKB on. He's still alive. Silent running low on HP, and he is in some trouble. XZ ends up going down to Resolution, but Aggressive living up to his name as he goes up to the high ground to try and deal with the Lesh. Silent is going down, and now Resolution on the run. He'll fall. Buyback from Silent, but how can they possibly hold this purge? It's a 5-on-2. The last lines of defense are crumbling for Empire as an upset is inbound.
Oh, they're going to grab
Cogs
him.
outside of the well. Silent can't do anything about it.
So close.
They will not dive the well. They will. They get the kill. It's a 5-0 yet again. They only burn the Aegis and cheese. GG is called, and CDEC takes a 2-0 over Team Empire.
And just showing they're the better team. I think that's pretty clear there. They had interesting lanes, but the roaming was just amazing, and there were just so many deaths that came out of Empire that probably didn't need to happen. So many times they got hook-shotted by Clockwork and killed solo, and their KDAs were just weak on so many heroes. I mean, like, Silent farmed so well early game, but he just had to get that early Mask of Madness. I don't know why he delayed it. Maybe he was worried about taking the bonus QoP damage or something, but you know, you're pretty safe. You turn on Mask of Madness, you Omni Slash, and immediately after you spin to remove the debuff, or the Mask of Madness, and so you're protected from it. Yeah. He just should have had that, and his Omni Slashes would have been better as a result, and his farming maybe as well. So the itemization could have been better on Silent, and I think his team could have played a lot better. They didn't get much value out of the Bane and stuff.
Yeah, you know, it's always interesting when you see teams from different regions that rarely get to face off against each other. But that mid-Clockwork, we certainly didn't expect it. When we looked at the lane and realized it, our faces lit up like Christmas trees, and Empire probably had a similar reaction, seeing a Queen of Pain and a Razor, neither of which going mid. Kind of caught them off guard a little bit, and they just didn't have a great way to deal with that Clockwork. 5-5 and 26.
Really well played by him.
Very nice. Wow, what a day of games here, Purge. So to go full circle, we had Virtus Pro go 2-0 over CDEC, Empire go 2-0 over Virtus Pro, and then CDEC go 2-0 over Empire.
The opposite of what we expected, basically.
What an insane round robin of games that was. My own
So CDEC gets 3 points. Empire gets 3 points. VP gets 3 points. Is that correct? They're all they're all 2-0s, right?
Yeah.
So that's it. I think all the teams have got to be fairly happy with that. Any other teams that go 1-1 for the day for their 2 matches get less points than them. This is the way you want to do it. If you're only winning 2 games, you want it in the same little group.
Absolutely.
So not the worst for any of these teams. Group B shaping up to be a bit of an interesting and very, very close group in terms of points.
Yeah, no doubt. So that's it for us today, folks. There are still some other heats going on. This was a reasonably quick series, so check out the other streams. But that's it for the International 5 Dota 2 third stream. Zayori, he's Purge. Thank you so much for joining us for the last few heats. I won't be back until day 4. Purge will be back tomorrow, and there's a lot more Dota 2 coming your way. So take care, and we'll see you again tomorrow.